Welcome, listeners of Illusion, to the Dungeon of Confusion. Come with us now as we spin you a tale to quicken the heart and chill the blood. But of course, you are not familiar with me or this place. Let me remedy such by stating my name is Artie McNeil, the co-writer of this tale with my friend and your dungeon master for the evening, Nikolai Popsky. Through the question of what if, we created this place with its melancholic overtones and hapless villagers. And we threw down the challenge to any and all who felt themselves brave or foolish enough to step up and experience what we have created, to truly open up the dungeon to the world and see who bit down on the bait. But now I hear a group of such brave fools at our gates. Time alone now will show the true motives of their hearts, for now it's time to raise their portcullis and open the dungeon.
Welcome to episode 8 of the Penance Halloween Project. This week we have Wednesday night game. So, who are you? What are you in this game? And where will people know you from? I.e., tell us a bit about your podcast. Starting with Briar.
Sure. My name is Matt. I'm part of Wednesday Night Game. I'll be playing tonight as Briar. He's a dwarf from the coal mines of the Chain Hills. So, our podcast is known for it's a variety podcast. We play almost everything out there. Right now we've been doing a lot of the test RPGs, playtests. We kind of just finished up the Pathfinder 2nd edition playtest, and that was interesting.
Okay. Next we have Cade.
Yeah, I am Colton from Wednesday Night Game. I will be playing Cade Monthjay, a halfling, and yeah, pretty much what Briar said.
Okay. Next we have Harold.
Hi, I'm Alex. I'm playing Harald Warding for Wednesday Night Games. I usually play the crazy characters. We'll see how that goes tonight.
Okay. Then we have Larissa.
One of Wednesday Night Game, I'll be playing Larissa, a tiefling magician. And find our podcast on Twitter at WedNightGame, and we also have a WordPress. It's WednesdayNightGame.wordpress.com.
And finally we have Lick of Flame.
Hi, my name's Colin. I'll be playing Lick of Flame. I find myself in the position of being the GM by default for Wednesday Night Game. Yeah, we've pretty much hyped up the website and the Twitter feed, which are the two main places where you can interact with us. Yeah, let's hit that game button.
Cool. So the game begins. You've all individually responded to this request for help by this merchant you found on a tavern wall in one of the cities you've all found yourself in. And you arrive in this tavern and, you get shown to this table and said your drinks are all paid for, just drink what you want as long as you're here for the job, effectively. So for the first about half an hour you're there, drinking merrily, doing what you do. And about half an hour later this merchant walks in and he looks like quite an elderly looking elf. He's got quite a bit of finery about him. He looks like he's got a few quid, shall we say. So he takes a seat at your table and he looks at you all one after the other and then says, "Thank you for coming, my friends. I very much appreciate that you have signed up for this deal and you've come to help me find my son."
Yes, of course, we're happy to help.
Thank you. Well, I suppose I was a little vague in the job description, but what I'm looking for is, it's a long story, but the gist of it is that my son has, disappeared, I guess you would say, from this town in the north, Eisenport. And I need to send a group of you, fine heroes effectively, to go and find him and maybe find out what became of him, if he is actually passed on, shall we say.
What was he doing in Eisenport?
Well, for that I suppose I better give you the full story. About a year ago, I heard some rumblings from a few men that I'd had dealings with, that there was this town in the north that had a lot of gold and golden jewelry, but didn't seem to have any shops or any dealings outside of their own. They were almost closed off. It seemed almost somewhat deliberately, and as any merchant does when you hear that there could be potential gold somewhere, you pack your things and you think, right, this is going to make my fortune. But as I packed my things, prepared to leave, my son came to me and he said, "Papa, I want to lead this expedition. I want to be the one that goes off and spreads your good name and, opens this shop in the north and makes my own fortune from, what I've learned from you. And, when your offspring tell you this, you swell with pride and you think, well, it's, he's been under my effectively shadow for about 70 years now, and it is time for him to move on, and maybe this is his great experience to make his own fortune." So I gave my son my blessing, and he left full with this group of men, and they went north. Although I received several letters from him, the final letter did not seem like my son, and after speaking to a couple of the men who came back from before, none of them seemed to either know of my son anymore or want to talk about what they have seen. Rather than try and trouble the men to, look in their spare time, I would rather spend some gold just sending a proper group of adventurers to find out what's become of my son.
Well, you seem to have picked a right group of adventurers then.
Well, I have offered to pay you very well, and I know that even if you can't be loyal to, well, me, I guess, you will at least be loyal to the gold I will offer you in return if you bring me news of my son.
That is a true story.
Always loyal to coin.
Indeed.
Basically, what I'm asking of you is I want you to travel to this Eisenport and find out what became of my son. And if there's anything else I can do to help you before you leave, please just let me know.
Do you know of anyone in this town that he may have had connections with?
In Eisenport itself, there was a dwarf he seemed to speak to. Anders, I believe his name was. He was the merchant of sorts. He seemed to have all this gold necklaces and earrings and everything, but my son apparently attempted to get him to sell, but he wouldn't do anything. He wouldn't part with a single piece. If you want a bit more information, my son did write to me, and he did give me these letters, and this probably can explain about as much as I can.
That would be helpful. Which character has the best literacy? I took one.
Two of you have two, which is Cade and Larissa. It's up to you which one of you beats it.
I guess I can read the first one.
Okay.
Exalted Papa, I have arrived at Eisenport with the rest of the party to begin learning the trade in which you have earned your revered reputation. Truly, this tiny seaside village is a glittering gem, comparable to those that nestle in the glistening jewelry adorning every ear, wrist, and throat. Even the shoe buckles, belt clasps, and other adornments are wrought from the finest goldwork, crafted by a gentleman called Anders, who is coarse but skilled. All the men have been welcomed warmly, given the best lodgings at the local taverns and the most mouth-watering delicacies to savor, along with the finest wine the region has to offer. The village is as pretty as a picture, and for all that it is a fishing port, smells only of sweet pine, so evocative of our own sylvan home. Here, too, Eisenport has been blessed. Even the hardiest trawler working the richest seas cannot compare to the hauls brought by these women on their delicate skiffs. The women are industrious and pretty, and turn their hand to all labor, that the men may abide at the home to better teach the children. An unusual arrangement, but one that appears to serve the town well. On the morrow, I seek an audience with the mayor of the place, and I will tell all I can of the matter. Until then, I remain your devoted son, Dorian.
Beautiful town.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Seems like the mayor's a good person to talk to as well.
He also talks about Anders, that other dwarf.
I think he's the first one we should speak with when we arrive.
Aye.
Your letter. This town is not without its mystery. My meeting with the mayor of the town, called here the Mother, with the same eager welcome extended to all and the expressed fervent wish that we should stay if we could. Secretly, I believe they may wish us to turn our hand to their labors, as their own men refuse to do. Anders, the goldsmith, who is jealously protective of his craft. Here I have encountered the first obstacle in my quest to learn your trade. Anders will not sell his pieces for trade to other ports, nor will he reveal the skills he uses in creating such wonders. Good and fair price would be paid, but the dwarf will not sell. In the typical stubbornness of his race, price already paid on the pieces. Such a cryptic nature will make him a challenge for any merchant. I hope to win with the offer of haggling or trade, as well as the Dawn Whisper charm. Certainly working on the ladies of the town. Such hospitality and warmth I have known nowhere else save in our own sweet dell. The ladies guard their jewelry with as much jealousy as Anders, but with infinitely more sweetness. As a birthday charm, another as a scholarly prize, another still as an heirloom, to the point that they too refuse to sell their pieces. We have had would overwhelm a lesser elf. Such suggestion and flirting is remarked upon in a town with no sailors to welcome them, but such bawdy suggestion is firmly met as simply high spirit. They observe the tenets of their faith, and will not so much as be alone with a man in a room without first being wed. Such chastity couples with such flirtation can be distracting, but my heart is strong. I have come here to please you, Papa, and to give you pride, and truly this is what I shall do. Your loving son, Dorian. What is this Dawn Whisper charm?
I think he was trying to be talking about my sense of charisma. My name is Florian Dawnwhisper, and he is my son Dorian Dawnwhisper.
Huh.
Having a great time.
Yes, that's what I thought for a while, and then the future letters began to make me concerned.
So, how far north is this town?
Oh, it's about 2 days' travel. It's usually an overnight stay in one of the small villages on the way up.
And ideally this time of year it should be comfortable.
As far as I'm aware, we are getting into fall, but the cold weather should be at least a few weeks away.
What were these other letters he sent?
I have the next one here.
Briar, would you like to read the next one?
Aye, Papa. Forgive the brevity of this letter and my absence for the returning mercantile party. A discussion was had, and it believed that all of us had been away from our families too long. It did not help that Eisenport women were driving the men to destruction. Even Beothan and his beautiful young wife and 3 strapping lads at home had his eye linger too long on the Eisenport beauties. Luck was with it that his eye wandered, and that he may now look Ezria in the eye upon his return with a nary a blush. Papa, I am not satisfied with Eisenport. There is a great wealth to be had here, an oyster to a prize open. The rub is discovering where best to place the leverage. Until I advise otherwise, I remain as the trade contact in the north. All requests, reports, and other writings are to be sent on the fastest carriage, or by falcon if urgent. This pearl of a place will be mine. I remain your son, Dorian. Seems to get some ambition behind him.
Yes. When I spoke to the men when they returned about him, my son seemed determined that he was going to effectively die upon this hill, if you know what I mean.
Was he always this greedy?
He was never greedy, no. He always wanted to make me think of him as capable, I suppose. Maybe it's my fault that he pushed himself so hard.
Marissa pats him on the shoulder.
Is this Beothan a compatriot of his?
Beothan was a very sort of strapping man, but when he returned to the city, he seemed to pick up his wife and small children and left. When I spoke to him about potentially returning to Eisenport or doing work up north, he told me that he wanted to get as far away from the place as possible, and he would not be returning.
Any idea where he went to?
He journeyed south, I know that, but I don't know much more than that, I'm afraid.
Aye.
In your son's letter, it says that Beothan's eyes landed upon Ezria. Is this some fair lass from up north?
No, Ezria was his wife. He came back to her.
Oh, gotcha. That makes sense. I was assuming that he was, shall we say, less than faithful.
I think that's what my son was concerned he would become if he'd been left much longer up there.
Yet he ran as fast and as far as he could.
He seemed worried by what he'd seen, and he seemed to want to get as far away from it as possible. It's like a bad memory haunted him.
Which seems odd. This town, full of riches, beauties, and good fish, apparently. Seems odd
I
that one
am
would
most
run from
interested in the fish.
I like oysters.
Sounds like a good place to take a hit.
Briar, I think the oyster thing's a metaphor.
Why, that would make sense, wouldn't it?
I'm just
Last letter,
hoping
then.
the oysters are real. Or oysters? I'm sorry. I'm hoping the fish are real.
Well, my friends, I only have one letter left, and this is the one that makes me wonder what became of my son. My advisor tells me that this does not sound like my son.
Father, I've ceased my trade in the north. I've made the decision to settle permanently in Eisenport. I found a bride, Melia, and ask for your nuptial blessing. I hope we'll be as happy as you and Mother were, and hope to raise your children as you've raised me, strong, wise, and full of hope. Dorian.
Perhaps he's just given up on the life of, being a merchant, and he just wants to settle down and raise a family.
Well, I thought that maybe my son had just decided that he wanted to, as you say, to settle down, but I sent 2 or 3 of my men, the men I trusted, with letters for him back to Eisenport. And upon arriving in Eisenport, they requested to hand them these letters, and either the letters were taken off them by the girls there, or they were told, no, we've never heard of him. And they even spoke to the matriarch and said, we're looking for Dorian, and the matriarch had never heard of him. Or this Melia, she didn't exist either. When the men came back and handed me the letters and said they could not find my son, then I began to grow concerned. I mean, if he has just, as you say, just settled down, then I would be very happy for him. I'd just like him to know that his old father still cares about him and still wants to know he's okay. But if he hasn't just settled down, then I'm at my wit's end what to do. I need to know what became of him.
Maybe they move to the next town.
Are you wanting to ask anything else of the merchant before you take your leave?
No, I don't think so. Unless anyone else does.
Do you have any horses or ponies?
There's a cart outside. It leaves in the morning. I'll make sure it's paid, and your journey to Eisenport and back is paid for.
Aye.
Alright then.
Sounds like we got a gig.
Okay, so the merchant rises. He bows to all of you. He opens his sort of cloak and takes out a bag of 50 gold, hands it to each of you, and says, that is your initial payment. If you come back with anything about my son, I will pay you 300 gold each. But please, just find my son.
We'll certainly do our best.
Okay, and he takes his leave. You spend the rest of the night drinking, enjoying the bar, and the next morning, quite early, the soberer ones of you are dragging the drunken ones to the cart, which is a single horse and carriage driver. The cart itself looks like it wants to be a carriage, but it's very much a cart with a sort of roof. It looks quite rickety, but it looks dry inside and safe enough.
Hey, driver.
Yes?
You ever been to Eisenport before?
Several times, yeah.
What do you think of the people there?
Oh, the women are very beautiful. But, don't look at them. Just trouble brews if you look at them. Well, for me anyway, I'm married.
From the stories we've heard yesterday, that doesn't matter.
It does to me. My wife would come into the afterlife to kill me.
Briar laughs at that.
Right.
So he stands on the edge of the cart itself and rings a handbell. Anyone else for Eisenport? Stopping at Limestock Bay, Bishop Underpuddle, and Messenden.
Briar hops into the cart.
Lick of Flame also climbs on.
Cade
Okay.
drunkenly climbs on.
Harold hoists himself up.
Ursa gets on as well.
So you're all on this cart, and it leaves and heads off down a sort of rickety road through a very dense forest. So after about 2 hours, 3 hours of travel, you eventually come to the other end of the forest, and as you sort of burst out of the forest effectively, to your left and to your right there seems to be like forestry parties, which seem to be made up of men and women who are cutting down trees. The men you see don't look like your typical like big brawny forester type. They look all quite thin and normal and kind of like your typical like thin peasant rather than your like big beefy like full-time forester, if you know what I mean. As the cart continues on for about another half hour, 45 minutes or so, you eventually come into the like town square of this small town. It has quite a large inn with a lake behind it. It has a guild hall, which it looks like it used to be some kind of like a merchant shop, but it looks dusty and cobwebby as if it's not been opened for a long time. And there's also a bunch of like housing that looks like it was temporary housing but has been there so long it's sort of taken up proper root, if you know what I mean. As you pull into the town square, the driver gets down, fixes a sort of nose bag on the front of the horse, and turns to you and says, well, me and Flash will need about 2 hours and then we'll be on our way to Bishop Underpuddle, so I'll ring me bell when it's time to come back.
Love that the horse is named Flash.
Right. So this is not our destination. This is a different stopover, correct?
No, this is a small town called Missenden.
Missenden. Okay.
Did he say Bishop Underpuddle?
Yep, Bishop Underpuddle is the next stop. Sorry, Bishop Underpuddle. We all just call it Bishop, but it is spelled Bishop.
Huh.
That sounds delightful, I think. I head to the inn.
Okay, what are the rest of you doing?
I look over to Briar and sort of like stalk over his way. And Lick of Flame is taller than him, and his tail kind of like lashes behind him, sort of like in, I don't know, anticipation or like just like nervousness. And he says, Briar, did you get a look at those shrunken lumberjacks as we came in?
Shrunken lumberjacks.
The thin guys.
They looked weak to me.
I agree. Now, how do you suppose a small group of men like that manage a lumber company?
Very poorly, I would imagine.
I imagine as well. That seems odd. He doesn't seem to have a point. He's just sort of like pointing out this oddity.
Right. I mean, they were assumingly like just scrawny men, right? Humans?
Right. Just these thin ass dudes, right?
They all looked about relatively like skin and bones or very young. They don't look like the sort of seasoned labourers, basically.
Gotcha.
Did any of them have a beard?
No.
Briar.
Oi,
None of them had beards.
beardless lumberjacks.
Beardless lumberjacks.
I don't like it.
I
He
don't
spit
either.
On the ground.
And Lick of Flame is just gonna keep like harping on this until something else distracts him.
Right.
Sorry, I don't think I actually mentioned this in the like description of Lick when we first started talking. He's a tabaxi, so he's a little weird.
Cat person, right?
Yeah, cat person.
Yeah. Actually, while we're on the topic, Cade, what are you? And same thing for Harald.
Cade is a halfling.
Okay.
And Harald is a human.
Larissa is a tiefling.
Horns and tail.
Or buffalo-esque horns. Red skin.
Buffalo. That's good. Awesome.
I like it.
Okay, so
Cool.
Larissa is going towards the inn.
Yes.
Now you have all discussed your beardless lumberjack
Beardless lumberjacks, yes, it's an issue. It's a problem.
problem. It is an issue.
Problem.
Yeah, that's red flag number 1.
It's red flag number 1 with this town that we're stopping in.
I was expecting them to try and attack us on the side of the road. We probably look too strong for them, though.
I mean, obviously. They don't even have proper beards, and I gesture at Briars.
Briar does have a nice beard.
I think at that, Cade will also go to the inn to get drunk.
Okay.
Again.
Just
We're
keep
still
his
kinda
drunk
drunk.
going.
Was the inn the place that had cobwebs on it?
No. Right. Basically, what you can see at the moment is there's like a small stable-like building which you're at with the horse and cart. Then there's an inn, which looks to have a couple of men outside and a couple of men and women wandering around. And there's like, and it looks like a sort of old merchant shop with proper like door and everything, but it looks deserted, like it hasn't had anyone go in and out for a long time. And there's also these like old temporary looking housing, has been there a long time, and just looks like, although it originally was temporary housing, it's now kind of it's basically taking up full time.
Gotcha. So it was temporary housing, but now it's permanent, real housing.
Yeah.
The shop, or well, I guess the inn. What's the sign look like?
The sign looks to have been carved out of wood. It's just called the Missenden Arms. It's relatively straightforward. It looks like it's quite faded and has seen better days.
Okay, so it's the Missenden Arms. Is it shaped like two like forearms like crossed in front of each other?
It's basically kind of like a shoehorn.
Okay.
It's
Gotcha.
kind of weird. It's kind of like sort of, it's kind of circular, but it's more blocky. It looks like it was made in a sort of heyday of far better craftsmanship, and they've tried to replace it, and it's not looked as well.
Oh, that's unfortunate for them. Okay.
Red flag number 2.
Their sign isn't thematic.
Oi. But town full of lumberjacks and not a single carpenter to make a decent sign.
Oh man, I didn't even put that together. Briar, you're like hella smart.
Briar is not smart, just FYI. But he smiles. I've been known to know a few things. And at that, Briar will approach the inn, kind of
Right, yeah,
eyeing
I
his
just-
way at the
Yeah, exactly. I think Lick follows everybody else too.
So I think it's just Harold that's not going anywhere
Yeah,
yet?
Harold will also go to the inn. He does take a look at that building, the old merchant's building.
So you all walk into the inn, and as you walk in, there's a couple of spaces free. It seems to again be full of these, like, there's about a 60-40 split, female to male. The men that are there all seem to be, as I said, either young or very scrawny, and are sort of sitting around in sort of group, very much sort of mixed groups. There's not any groups of men on their own, and there's a couple of empty tables, there's a barmaid, and you can hear the sound of activity upstairs, shall we say.
Oh my.
This is a fancy place.
Sure.
So
Larissa wants to sit at a table that's kind of next to a group of people.
Okay, so you take your seat. The barmaid sort of looks at you and sort of holds a flagon up towards you.
A
There's
nod.
there's 5 of us. Like Lick just holds a hand up with like 5 fingers showing.
Okay, she brings you 5 beers over, takes gold, and wanders away again.
Briar looks disappointed at the size of his pint.
Yeah. So does Cade.
Human-sized pints.
It's part of the
Larissa would like
adventure.
to try and eavesdrop on the conversation next door.
So let's roll a perception, please. See what you
Oh man,
hear.
first roll.
No pressure.
No pressure. It's just gonna set the entire tenor of the whole night.
Thanks. Thank you guys so much.
You listen to the conversation behind. It seems to be men basically bragging about how strong they are, and you notice them, like, you know, flexing and stuff, and the women around kind of slightly being like, oh yeah, okay, maybe, and then sort of 2 or 3 of them having a sort of discussion of who's the strongest at the table. It seems to be very much sort of drunken chat. It doesn't seem to be that interesting.
Harold, you should arm wrestle them.
Yeah.
I'll do it.
Harold takes a big swig and he sits himself down at the other table.
Okay.
I heard you're strong.
The
Let's test these words. And he puts his arm on the table.
3 men sort of look at each other, then look at you and go, alright, what's the wager?
Put gosh.
You got like 50 gold. Like drop whatever.
Yeah,
you
I know.
want.
I'm trying to figure out what would actually, like, sure, 10 gold pieces on the table. Slap him down.
Holy shit.
10 gold.
Holy crap.
And they sort of look at each other, and one of them goes, alright, I was gonna have a night with Tabitha, but alright. It's 10 gold down, so it's a comparative roll.
Oh.
No.
Jeez.
Oh.
It's a close contest, but Harold just wins.
Now,
The man on the other side looks like he's been sweating profusely to try and almost beat Harold, and Harold is pretending it was nothing, but you see the veins are quite prominent on his head.
now, I mean, I guess we're deep in an arm wrestle, but is he still scrawny?
He seems relatively strong, despite the fact that he looks like he's built really scrawny.
Right.
I mean, it wouldn't take much to overpower him, as he looks like he's exhausted from this contest, but you sort of scrape your gold up, and he kind of looks at you like exhausted, and the girls all sort of turn to you and start going, so, are you staying in town?
Oh right. Lick of Flame is just like, oh Harold, you can have the night with Tabitha.
We only have a few hours before our carriage leaves, though, Lick.
It doesn't take that long.
At this point, you hear the sort of activity upstairs stop.
Oh boy. See?
So,
I sort of quietly go back to the table and sit back down and sort of lean over and say, he was quite strong for someone built so scrawny.
okay.
Milk.
Milk?
Maybe he drinks a lot of milk.
What kind
This
of
is
milk
strong.
does that?
Yeah, I'm not sure of any milk or someone with strength that doesn't at least build some muscle.
As you're all sort of sitting around debating, you know, how he could have got so strong, you see a rather contented-looking labourer walk down the stairs and walk out the front door, sort of whistling to himself.
Looks like he had a fun 5 minutes.
After a couple more minutes of sort of continuing to debate this, you see a girl in a quite tattered-looking red dress sort of stumble her way to the top of the stairs and then begin to walk down.
Harold, now's your chance. The strongest man in the bar.
I can't be distracted this easily. We do have a mission.
Yeah, but we've got 2 hours to kill.
She seems to sort of like very gingerly walk her way down the stairs, and When she reaches the bar, she seems to sort of like fling a small like pile of gold at the barmaid and then grab whatever ale she's given and just seems to chug it back as quickly as possible.
I like her style.
I look at Briar and say, well, now that's a woman.
No, it's not. Not big enough beard.
Touche!
Maybe this town is a curse. No one can grow a beard, and no one looks strong.
Either that or everybody's very, very into shaving.
Ugh. I'd hate to think of that.
So,
Lick of Flame just shudders in thinking about shaving.
So I assume you're not like one of those Egyptian hairless?
Correct, no. He has a thick, luxurious coat of orange and black fur.
Oh gosh, a man-sized... Ugh.
Oh no.
It's like a walking raisin.
That's in the next
think like-
adventure.
Yeah, think like man-sized ocelot, basically.
Yeah, if you were a sphinx, that would be a horror in itself.
Oh god, yeah, no, it's terrifying. Although, slight digression, I was looking up Tabaxi, like, artwork online, like, in thinking about this, and there's, like, people who definitely have done, like, Sphinx cat Tabaxi. I'm just like, no! Just move those away as fast as possible.
At this point, Cade has finished his pint, and then motions for another one,
Okay.
because
The
a whole day.
barmaid comes over and basically just gives you all another round of beer, takes some more gold off you, and says, well, Tabitha's free if you're wanting someone. As you look over at this creature that's like staring, like you can see she's slightly dazed just by looking at her. And she's just staring into this wooden like tankard.
Look pointedly at Harold, look pointedly at Tabitha, look pointedly back at Harold.
Larissa will get up and go talk to her.
Oh!
Okay, what are you gonna say?
You're drinking.
She actually did me a perception check just from when she looks up at you. She is quite obviously concussed.
Oh.
And as she looks up at you, one pupil is definitely like 4 times the size of the other one.
Oh no.
She just goes, are you buying for your friend? It's 10 gold for a while.
Turn to the person who's been getting us drinks and I ask, is there a hospital?
The barmaid just goes, no. We've got bandages back here. She sort of seems to mess around behind the bar.
Is she always this asymmetrical?
The barmaid just turns to you and goes, well, you know how boobs are. They don't sit right sometimes.
Briar, how rude.
Briar just shrugs it off.
Hey, Cade, run out there and ask the wagon guy if there's a doctor in the next town.
Alright, I can do that. I will get up and sort of drunkenly
Okay.
walk to the door.
Oh, great.
Okay. You walk
Yes, first.
outside. You go and speak to the cart driver who goes, what's a doctor?
Someone who, like, fixes people up, you know?
Oh, like some sort of mage thing.
Something like that.
Not that I'm aware, no.
It's probably why they're all so sickly. I'll, go back in and say, no doctors around here. No mages either.
If you see a mage, let me know.
Alright.
Can I a knowledge check for how to treat a concussion?
You do have heal. You can just roll a heal. You cast a heal on her, and immediately she seems to sort of like look at the beer and sort of shakes her head a lot, and she looks back at you, and it's as if she's kind of like the haze is lifting, and she's like, I love beer. It really helps with some of the worst customers. And she chugs back the rest of the tankard she's got.
Somebody gave you a nasty bruise there.
She's just, it's just Daniel. He's just very rough. He pays well though, but he's been getting rougher recently.
Do you need someone to go smack him on the head?
She sort of looks into her beer at that point and goes, I wouldn't say anything. I wouldn't object. But if it came from me, I think he'd probably be worse.
I can do that for you.
I feel like smacking someone. No reason.
Just tell him I heard he was an asshole.
Part of me wants to bash him. Part of me thinks it's not our problem.
Yeah, I see your point, but we still got an hour to kill, so... Sounds like fun for me.
Ha! An hour to kill! Ha!
I won't kill him.
Hey.
Well, there's no doctors in this town. He might die eventually.
Yeah.
So, are you wanting to ask her anything else now she's a bit more, well, able to understand you?
Where would one find this Daniel?
She again just looks into her beer and says, "Oh, you didn't hear it from me, but he likes fishing at the lake."
I also like to fish. What do you say, guys? Fishing expedition?
Yeah, sounds like a fun fishing trip.
Okay.
Cool.
So are you all going to journey towards the lake then?
Yeah, why not?
Yep.
Okay. As you walk out of the inn itself, you hear the sound of a small bell ringing, and you look over and you see that there's some movement inside the sort of guild house.
I'm gonna go look at it.
Oh, me too.
Yep.
Guys, I thought we were going fishing!
We'll do that in a minute. We have, time.
Okay, so you walk up to the sort of guild hall, and you definitely see there's someone relatively smallish moving around inside. What are you going to do?
Aid, you're smallish. Why don't you go in first? So you don't scare him.
Yeah. Is there a way I can try to, make out any more details? Like a perception check?
Yeah, do a perception check. It does seem like the windows have... There's not so much glass in them as they've got shutters over them, but they're beginning to fall apart.
Okay. Oh, yeah, no, I probably don't see shit.
You just see that it's about someone about the same height as you. That's about all you really notice.
Yeah, I will enter the guild hall then.
Okay, as you walk in, there's a small bell rings, and you look up and there's a small bell on the door. In front of you, you see, goes along a little bit, then it extends to this quite large hall. And in the middle of this hall, sitting behind a sort of pile of boxes, there seems to be about 8-year-old child who seems to be making a basket.
Ah, what's your name?
Oh, I'm Tim.
Oh, Tim. Where's your mama and papa?
Oh, Mummy gives special cuddles at the inn. If you want a discount rate, tell her I sent you. And he smiles.
Oh no.
Excuse me, I have the little Tim discount.
No!
I see.
And Daddy went up north about a year ago. He will be back soon. Despite what Mummy says, he will be back soon.
Did he go to Eisenport?
He sort of just looks at you like he's no idea where that is. He just goes, "Oh, he went up north. He'll be back soon.
I'm sure
And
he will.
be back soon, and I'm keeping the garden clean and tidy and the shop clean. So when he comes back, we can sell things again."
Well, it just so happens, Tim, that me and my friends are also heading north. What's his name, in case we run into him?
He again just looks at you really blankly and just goes, "Well, he's my daddy. He's the tall one with the brown hair."
Ah, I'll look out for your daddy with the tall one with the brown hair. Is there anything I can do for you, Tim?
Would you like to buy a basket? And he has like 3 or 4 baskets next to him. He looks like he's been making baskets.
How much are you selling them for?
I have to sell them for 4 gold each, and I cannot take beans again because Mummy says beans aren't magical, despite what the woman from the town says.
Oh no. Cade feels kind of bad for this kid, so he's gonna buy a basket.
Okay. So you buy this small basket off him. He takes 4 gold off you.
Alright, well, Tim, we are gonna go fishing, and I'll let your dad know if we see him. The tall one with the beard. Brown hair, not beard.
If
No
you
one
see
stopped.
him, tell him to come back because Mummy misses him, despite what she tells me.
I will.
And
Alright.
you see him sort of like tidying up the baskets he's making, then sitting down to make another one.
At this point, I will leave the guild hall with basket in hand and say, well, I just found I forgot her name. What was
Tabitha.
Yeah, just found Tabitha's kid. He sells these baskets. And apparently, Briar, you can get a discount if you mention that Tim sent you
What discount? Discount where?
for some time with Tabitha.
Oh, that beardless person?
I'm just
At this
passing-
point, you hear the door open again, and the small child turning goes, I forgot that if you do find my daddy, bring him back because then we can make these again, and I can keep giving them to people." And he offers you the spoon.
Oh,
Boom.
wow, that is pretty cool. Is he
He
like
just seems to
offering
hand it to you, and then seems to walk back into the shop before you've done anything other than take it off him.
Okay.
Every single time the bell rings, Lick looks up at the top of the door. He just can't help himself. It's like looks.
Yeah, so
It's a
He's
cool
also
spoon.
eyeballing the basket that Cade has real hard.
I will set down the basket in front of Lick.
Get him. I sit in the basket. I sit in the basket immediately.
The question is, does he fit?
In true cat style, he doesn't fit at all, but that's kind of the point.
I sit. I fits. I sits.
Well, I
Absent
found...
mindedly starts petting his head.
I purr.
I seem to have found Lick's seat in the remainder of the carriage ride. Let's go take a fishing trip now.
Oh, good. And Lick stands up and puts the basket on his head.
Okay. So you walk around to the lake. You see, as you sort of come around the edge of the inn, you see a group of 3 men seeming to sit on the other side of the lake. One of them has got a fishing rod. The other 2 just seem to be lying on the bank, not doing anything.
Cool. What's this tool's name that we're looking for?
Daniel.
Hey, Daniel!
The one with the fishing rod sort of looks up over at you. The other 2 don't seem to react. And then you see sort of tilt his head as in kind of is that a cat with a basket on its head?
That's the fucking asshole.
Get him!
So what are you gonna do?
Cade's gonna kind of just run up to him and just, hit him on the head with the blunt end of his dagger.
Okay, roll. So you run up, you crack him in the middle of the head with the dagger. He collapses to his knees and looks really dazed.
Hey,
The other 2 guys begin to run.
hey Daniel, stop being a fucking prick.
You see him sort of trying to focus at you, and he's just completely spinning. But what does he do? That's the next question. What he does is he swings and cracks you in the face.
Oh.
No.
Come with your left.
How big is this guy, by the way?
He's about the same size as the one that the one of you arm wrestled in the bar. He's not that big, but you notice as he's after he's cracked you in the jaw, he seems to go for his axe from his belt.
Oh, you want to
Ooh.
play?
Harold rushes forward.
No, Harold, it's okay. I've got this. Cade reverses the dagger and goes to stab him in the leg.
I would also like to pose that Lick has pulled out his bow and has an arrow knocked, and I'm just waiting to disarm this guy.
Okay, roll. Non-natural 20. Okay, yeah, you stab him in the leg. He howls and drops to one leg.
Hey, I'm here to teach you a lesson, not to fuck with people and not to beat people.
Let's see what he does with his axe. Natural 1.
Oh!
He basically drops his axe on the ground as he badly tries to clutch his leg. So his axe is lying on the ground next to him.
I just casually kick the axe spinning into the water.
Okay.
And Lick just puts his arrow back into his quiver and puts his bow away because it's no longer a thing he has to worry about.
So the guy is basically on one knee, making sort of noises as he's clutching a bad around the knee leg wound that seems to be bleeding quite badly.
Now, next time you go and try and hurt someone, think about what you're doing and what the repercussions might be.
And his response is... He basically tries to stand and his knee just buckles under him and seems to go horrible direction, and he just seems to start screaming.
I'll just start walking away from him.
Briar walks over and picks up his fishing rod and snaps it in half and throws it into the lake.
Now,
Okay.
fuck this guy.
Lick walks up and just pushes him into the water.
I was thinking about doing that.
Yeah, just walks up and just with one foot just kick nudges him into the water, just sploosh.
Okay, let's see what happens when you knock him in the water.
Oh.
He begins to flail quite badly as he begins to drift out towards the middle of the water.
Ooh!
And Lick backs up real quick, just avoiding the splashing.
Were we trying to drown a man today?
Nope.
It's up to him if he drowns.
I was gonna try to find something rusty and give him tetanus because there's no doctors. But I mean, I'm sure
Do we
pond
even know
scum
what
is something.
tetanus is?
It's the rust blood.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So
Let's see if anything happens from him flailing around. He stops moving
Oh
and
no.
begins to sort of like bob up and down, face down in this water.
Oh, guys, you really taught him a lesson.
Cade will jump into the water and start trying to like haul him back to shore.
yeah, I suppose Lick doesn't actually want him to die, so.
Okay.
Oh, but he doesn't want to get wet either. As soon as Cade like mostly has him pulled out of the water, like Lick comes up to this edge of the shore and like then helps pull him out.
So roll to try and get him out of the water.
Okay.
That's Cade, roll to try and wrestle him out of the water first of all.
Oh,
Yeah, you managed to pull him out of the water. He doesn't seem to be breathing.
Briar's gonna
It's like-
cast heal.
Oh, okay.
Just to. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Alright, let's try
Briar,
this.
you should cast it as a flying elbow drop.
Oh. No, it's more like he wiggles his beard on his face or something.
Beard magic.
Oh no.
Oh, God.
You get no response from the heal.
Alright, I'll flying elbow drop him in the hopes that I knock the water out of him.
Okay, roll.
Whoop!
You jump, you sort of full land square in his chest, but there's nothing coming back from him. He's not
Oh,
reacting
shit.
to you.
Oh, crap.
Cade will just kind of like push both of them out of the way and start performing like basically CPR.
This might need a revive.
Yeah.
Roll to see how you get on with CPR. He begins to splutter back into life, and he just looks at you with like absolute venom in his eyes.
What are you gonna do about it? You saw how it turned out the first time.
He grabs a knife out of his boot and stabs you in the gut.
Oh.
Fuck this guy. I'm gonna stab him through his shoulder.
Sure.
Guy just doesn't know when to quit.
Oh god, yes, you just stab him through the shoulder. He shrieks and drops the knife, which is embedded in your stomach.
I'll take out the knife and stab him in the other shoulder with it. Sure.
You're like systematically disabling all his limbs.
Yeah. This is pretty good, actually.
He's got one leg.
So, you've now stabbed him through the left shoulder, the right shoulder, and fucked his knee, and given him a concussion. He's just lying there, like limp, like unable to move, just like burbling at you. It's like.
I pull out one of my arrows and I hand it to Cade and say,
I hear if you put this in his knee, he'll never be an adventurer again.
God damn it.
Why? Why would you even do that?
Cade shakes his head and kind of slaps him around a bit, like not to hurt him, just like to get his attention and say, now you saw how that turned out the first 3 times. I hope you've learned your lesson and you don't ever fuck with anyone ever again. If I come back through this town and I hear more shit things about you, I'm slitting your throat.
He just sort of burbles at you a bit, and in the background you hear the bell ringing for the cart to Eisenport, leaving in minutes.
Cade like rips out both of the knives and leaves them on the side of the lake, walking off towards the cart.
Okay.
and Lick just looks at him and says, "Don't beat hookers," and runs away.
Briar just runs back to the cart, mumbling like, I don't think we're gonna ever be invited back to this town.
Well, on the bright side, I don't think Daniel's beating anyone ever again. He'll probably have trouble walking. There's no
Cade,
doctors in this town.
do you need a doctor?
I should be fine. I cast heal on myself.
You are bleeding from the gut, but you seem to be fine. So
It's just a flesh wound. I've had
You get-
worse.
you get back on the cart. One of you gets back inside his basket.
Oh yes, I have the basket still on my head. Place it in the cart and then get myself in the basket.
Is there time before the cart leaves to go talk to Tabitha real quick?
There is, yes.
Cade will kind of walk in, find Tabitha, and say, I don't think Daniel's going to be doing much anymore. He's still alive, don't worry. Also, I found your son. He seems to believe that his father is still coming back.
She seems to sort of stare into the beer in front of her and goes, "He's not coming back.
What happened?
He left and went to Eisenport. Sent me a letter saying he'd met his true love up north."
If we find him, see what's going on. We've heard some strange tales about Eisenport and people finding loves and then disappearing, so perhaps there's something more than his unfaithfulness there.
She nods quite sadly and tells you that his name was Thomas and he has a sort of triangle tattoo on his left arm.
Alright. I give her like 3 gold and then leave.
Okay. So you give her gold, you leave, everyone gets back on the cart, and the cart heads off. Sort of, this is at mid-afternoon at this point, towards the next town. And after about 3 or 4 hours, you go over this kind of dilapidated looking old bridge into a very much a lakeside town, and you see this sort of dilapidated sign of Bishop under Puddle. And as you pull into this town square, there's this plinth in the middle with this quite large crutch on top of it. To the left of you, when you pull in, there's quite a large inn. To the right, there's a medium-sized looking temple, and then there's a lot of... They look like they were slightly more than temporary housing, but again, they've been there a long time. And then there's the lake that seems to go all around the town.
So where does the cart stop for
The
us?
cart seems to stop at the town square. As it stops, the cart driver gets off, he starts unhooking the horse and tells you he'll take the horse to the stable for the night, and he'll be ready to go first thing in the morning.
Are there people about in the town square?
There's a couple of women wandering around, there's a few couples walking around. Unlike the last sort of town, there's no men on their own here, or groups of men on their own. It's a man and woman together, or a single woman on her own. You don't notice any groups of single men. However, outside the inn, there do seem to be several groups of women who seem immediately interested in you as you pull up on the cart and start walking over towards you, being like, "Hi! Anyone want some company tonight?"
All I need for company is some ale.
Oh,
Yeah.
but ale is only fleeting. Surely something more physical is what you're after, no? And she
We have
basically
exercise at the last town.
runs her fingers across your hair.
Cade kind of takes a step back and just silently kind of walks into the inn, ignoring them.
Okay. They turn to look at Lick and get quite confused, and they're not sure what to do about this gigantic cat that seems to be quite content sitting in a basket.
He stands up out of the basket, picks up the basket, puts it on his head, and then says, "Good evening, ladies," and then strides confidently off of the cart and towards the inn.
They're just sort of looking at, what? After they sort of done look confused, they turn back to Harold and Briar and just sort of give themselves winning smiles, but they're missing a couple of teeth. It doesn't look that great.
Oh.
Toothless and beardless.
Yeah,
Briar just shakes
they
his
didn't
head.
look your type anyway.
They sort of look quite saddened that none of you have shown any interest, but they're still going to try. You see them going after the cart driver, trying to follow him.
Well, they're persistent at least.
Gotta give him that.
Harold heads in.
Into the inn.
So inside the inn, this time there's about a 70-30 split, women to men. Again, there's a barmaid behind the bar. There seems to be a couple of rooms upstairs, but unlike the last one, there seems to be no activity going on. All the men you see in the bar seem to be very much like their wives are on their arm. They don't even seem to have the degree of separation you saw in the previous town. They'd be very much like both together here.
These towns are strange.
Yeah.
Larissa would like to go talk to the barmaid.
Okay. So the barmaid welcomes you and asks if you want some stew, because it's the only food that they have at the moment.
Lovely.
So she gets you a couple of bowls of it and puts it on the table and asks what you want to know.
Have all the men gone?
Oh, all the men are here, and she sort of gestures to 3 or 4 men that you see in the bar.
I feel like there's usually a more even disbursement.
Oh, them. Well, it's Eisenport recruitment. They've been down, they were down about 6 months ago. Recruited a lot of men. Left.
What?
Well, this woman from Eisenport, she came down saying that they had this, this work that needed done, so they wanted to recruit all the men. So they basically just said to a lot of the men, "Do you want to come work for a lot of gold?" And a lot of the men went, "Yeah." So most of them disappeared.
I heard that in Eisenport, the women do most of the work.
She just looks at you and says, "I wouldn't know anything about that. All I know is they come down here, they hire men to build ships, and they take them up north. Never hear from them again. Or the ones that do receive letters saying they've met their true love in the golden north."
This happen often?
Been happening off and on for a few years now, but it's been getting worse since the sort of main fishermen went up north. That was been about a year ago now.
Thanks for the info.
She sort of smiles to you and sort of says, "Anything else you want, just ask." You wanting rooms for the night?
Yeah, we could take a couple rooms.
I see. Do you want Cassandra or... And she's sort of looking to see, trying to work out who the girls were that were wandering around outside but can't seem to see the other one. Well, Cassandra's free if any of you want her for now.
Oh, we just meant a place to sleep. Well, I can't speak for any of my other compatriots, but...
An empty room.
She sort of looks at you a bit kind of like, oh, alright. Yeah, we've got a couple of those.
Question. Do the services offered include nice, wholesome pets?
She sort of looks at you and says, you've got a pet?
No, I'm sorry. I meant, like, gentle stroking of, like, the fur, preferably upon the head and back.
Oh. Well, if that's what you want the girls to do, I'm sure they'd do that for you.
Okay. You said the first one was Clarissa?
Cassandra, but...
Cassandra.
Sure, that's only going to be another 5 gold on top of your room, so... won't be that much.
I'll take it.
Okay, and you see her go up to this girl at the side of the bar, whisper, point towards Lick, and she's like... She does a sort of stroking motion with her hand, and you see the girl respond with a, like, weird sort of, like, jacking off motion, and she's like, no, stroking.
And Lick, like, takes off the basket from his head and, like, strokes his hair, like, the top of his head, and, like, nods, like, encouragingly to this lady.
She kind of nods and sort of... You hear her sort of whisper anything, and then they go... She comes back and she goes, you do want her naked, right?
I mean, sure, if that's what she wants.
Yep. So she turns around and goes,
just a cat.
Yep.
Right,
So-
yeah, he doesn't care.
Lick and Cassandra go off to one room, the rest of you all go off to a different room. Are you doing anything else for the evening, or are you all just turning in for the night?
Drinking.
Okay.
I've gotta drink away the pain from my gut wound.
Okay.
Briar has to drink away the pain of life.
The pain of beardless women.
Okay.
Dice.
So the next morning, you wake up. Can Lick roll me a d20, please?
Oh, sure. Can definitely do that.
Lick is surprisingly fine the morning after. He seems quite sprightly and happy.
Had a
Just
good night, eh?
A small side note, you're the only group that have had anyone sleep with the whore who have not rolled low at this point and ended up with crabs. So be glad.
Oh!
Oh, no.
Hooray!
Thank
Gosh,
goodness!
Wait, if he rolled low, would he have gotten fleas?
Yes. Or something from her, yes.
We would have to shave him.
No!
I am so glad!
I see what you mean by this game's about horror.
Yes. All the things
Wars.
you're genuinely frightened about.
Yeah, okay. So, Lick comes down from the rooms upstairs.
Petting room, yes.
Yeah, the petting room. And is like,
That was quite good. And he
adjusts the basket on top of his head.
So,
I think you had a good night.
Yes, I got many back pets.
so you all have some form of breakfast, and you walk out towards the cart. You see the cart driver who's like attaching the horse to the cart and saying, well, it'll not be that long, maybe about half an hour if you want to look around anywhere else before we go.
Kate, she did this thing with her hands where she dug them into my spine basically and massaged my back with both hands at the same time. It was so good.
Oh, that does sound delightful. I'm glad
2
you had a
hands
good night.
pets.
He just nods, as if this is the greatest thing ever.
Well, there doesn't seem to be any fishing to take place in this town, so
Oh, there
Thank
is a
you.
lake if you want to look at it.
that's not what I meant. Perhaps we should just get Lick all situated in his basket and
Take my
ready for-
basket, put it
Okay.
in the cart, sit in the basket in the cart.
This is
Okay.
the best 4 gold Cade has ever spent.
On the way back, he needs to buy another basket.
Oh my god, what will I do with 2 of them?
1 on your head, 1 to sit in.
Actually, you know what? At some point, I need to get tired of this basket.
Oh yeah, just
Just need to,
Off a table.
just spontaneously be like, "Pfft, basket, whatever.
Are you wanting to just move on to the next town?
Sure.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you set off, and after about another 3, 4, 5 hours, you eventually come over the hill to this town, and immediately the stench of rotting fish hits you. And as you look down upon the very small town you're coming close to, it smells very much like a mining town mixed with rotting fish.
Lick of Flame is drooling.
And
Well,
As you look into this town, you're getting closer. You're kind of coming down this winding track on the edge of a cliff. It seems to be like an inn. There seems to be like a fishing market in front of it. And then there seems to be a road that leads to the north. And just before the road leads to the north, there seems to be some kind of like, it looks like some kind of statue from where you are that seems to be pointing towards the north, but you can't see much of it until you closer. And as you begin to pull into the town square, all you hear is, "Fish! Buy my fish!"
Well, Lick, I think they're calling to you.
Who was sitting closest to Lick, like, during the last, like, half-mile approach?
So you to call, I don't know if you're sitting in your basket on the floor.
Yeah.
Cade probably is petting Lick.
He, like, reaches out with his hand and is just, like, batting at Cade the entire time. Just like, Cade, there's fish. There's fish. There's gonna be fish. I can smell them. It's fish.
I know. Well, we can get you some fish.
As soon as someone yells, like, fish, he's just out of the basket immediately and, like, running on all fours towards wherever that is.
As you get close, you notice that there seems to be a lot of, basically your sort of stereotypical fishwife, you know, the sort of, they look about 50 odd, they're quite white skin but very blotchy. Some of them have obviously quite darker skin as well, but again they've got that red blotch pattern to them, and they basically hold the fish up towards the cart and they seem to be moving towards it and trying to offer it. The fish looks rotten. The eyes are bulging, there's like white flakes around the gills. It looks like it's dripping in this like green ichor coming from inside it. It doesn't look fresh, it doesn't look healthy, it just stinks. And they're waving it at the cart going, "You'll buy my fish, won't you? You love this fish."
Yes, I do. I want to buy that fish. It looks so delicious. I love fish.
Okay.
Nick, this is a bad idea.
I know this is a bad idea. Oh god,
Lick.
why am I doing this?
Okay, so you can pay a gold to buy the fish offer if you want.
A gold?
Yes, my fish is very cheap, only a gold. I caught it this morning.
That's a lie.
Right. Lick doesn't
Like
think
a-
that's true. Lick's gonna call her out. Lick's like,
This morning?
and like,
Yes?
can I make some kind of knowledge check, maybe, to see if I can guess how old the fish might be?
Yeah, do you have nature? No, you
I sure don't have any points in that, no. Ooh.
You go, there's no way that's fish. I'll show you. I'll catch you one, and then you buy it from me. And she just grabs Lick by the ear and just sort of pulls him along after her, and she pulls him around the side of this inn, and there's this body of water, and there's these like fish bobbing up and down on top of the water, and she just
Like
wades in, grabs one, and goes, "See? Just caught this one fresh." And it weakly like moves a tiny bit and back again.
Oh god,
And she
it's
smacks
still...
it off the ground and goes, "See? It's dead now. It's good. It's good fish. Only a gold."
Marissa throws up a little.
Lick can't argue with this.
It's fresh. She just
It
caught
is. It's very fresh. It was just caught. It must be fine.
As you're about to do this, you see one of the other women just turn around and go, "Do you want an eel instead? I've got an eel." And she holds up this. It does look exactly like the fish before, you know, the bulging eyes and the white around the gills, but it's like, it looks like it's got like disease spots all the way down it, and it's like had like bits hacked out of it all the way down. Like it looks like it's been bitten by at least 5 different things.
Oh,
She's
no.
like, "I've got an eel. Look at it. Lovely fresh eel. You want some eel, don't you?"
I promised I would buy this fish first.
"You don't want to buy from her. Her fish are horrible. You want my fish. It's far nicer."
I mean, but her fish are so fresh.
"So is this eel."
But-
And the woman
But this
first of all
fish was
just turns
literally
round.
just caught moments ago.
The woman you were talking before just turns round and goes, "Fuck off, Susan. I've got this deal.
Gosh.
Yeah, Susan, no poaching.
Here, buy this fish." And she just smacks it into your face. The
Oh,
stench
God.
and rot
Oh.
of fish is just, it's almost repulsive to you already. "See, you've had a taste. You love the fish, don't you?"
Is it repulsive? I'm trying to figure out if it is or not. Okay.
It's basically like, it stinks and it's got green goo pouring from the inside.
Yeah, that's true. Ugh, it's so gross.
Come on, you know how big cats are about what food they'll eat.
True,
That's
true.
That's
If
true.
I
Cat would
had-
probably at least lick it once and then be sick for about 5 hours, and then maybe you can
Right.
like bat it a bit, but that's about it.
Okay, you know what? That's fair. That's exactly what I'm gonna do. I will pay for this fish because it is fish, and I've seen how fresh it is, and Lick of Flame believes that this is fine. he takes it, and he walks away with it, and he like takes a bite.
Okay.
Oh,
Roll
no.
to see how it affects you.
Okay, just a straight d20
Yeah,
roll.
straight d20 roll.
Oh,
Okay. You take a bite out of it. It tastes rotten, and everyone else looking at you, you're like the insides look like very, very grey and green and disgusting. But you're like, nah, seems fine.
Briar.
You hear the crunch of
I was
bones.
about to- yeah. Sorry, I have a kobold character who I play on Wednesday who does exactly this all the time.
Briar
so
wants
yeah,
to make like a perception check to see if there's any parasites crawling out of it.
Okay, roll.
Why? Why are you doing this to me, Matt?
You know why.
I hate you.
And my perception's at a 4. So
I love you, but I hate you.
There are several worms in the fish he's holding in his hand.
Oh no! I eat it. I don't even pay attention. I just
Lick. No doctors. No veterinarians.
I just like look over at Briar and like go, like finish slurping in like a bit of raw fish, and go,
Why would I need a doctor?
Cade just shakes his head at this point and walks inside the inn.
As you get close to the inn, you see another one of these sort of very desperate-looking girls stands up and goes, 2 gold if you want a night, and she grins and she's got 2 teeth in her head.
Oh no.
it's just worse. There's more women, but they're worse as far as we go.
I think it's a bad idea that we didn't like buy bread before we came here.
Right?
She begins to disrobe a little to try and what she thinks draw you in, but the more she disrobes, the more she reveals this like red, sore-looking like infection all over her
no.
chest.
Yeah, I think I'll pass.
She
Just
sort of-
walks inside the inn.
She sort of goes, ah, and just turns back and then sort of tries again with the next one of you in order. Till she gets to lick, and then she just turns up, she's immediately revolted by the stench of rotten fish from his breath. She just turns up with this like all over him, he's just like, no.
Lick just smiles his toothy cat smile, and like there's like a bit of fish flesh stuck between his incisors.
Yeah, bit of a tail, yep.
Yeah. Like a bit of fin, exactly.
Yep, so you walk inside the inn, the barmaid again seems kind of blotchy and just less like, hello, what do you want?
What do you got to drink here?
We've got fish gin, fish vodka, we've got some eel wine. And she takes down this bottle of clear liquid, well, it was clear at one point until you noticed that on the top was like this like thick green film, and inside the bottle there seems to be a rotten eel.
I'll take a round of all of it.
Good. And she pours this, and as soon as she opens the bottle, the stench and the whole inn is just, it's enough to make the rest of you feel really sick. She's pouring this into shot glasses.
You guys are so welcome.
This is worse than the sewer job I had to do.
I only hope that the alcohol content is enough to kill whatever you're eating, Lick.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
And there's like the fish skeleton that he's got in his paw.
Briar says, if it was actually alcohol, it wouldn't smell like that.
It's true, it wouldn't.
It's wonderful stuff.
It smells
She
wonderful.
hands it to Lick.
Yeah, I assume it's like a goblet and like a shot glass and
It's
like
like a sort of very small goblet, so it's kind of basically like a shot glass, but it's made of wood.
Okay. This is made of wood. Is it all of these things combined into one single glass?
No, those 3 of them. Do you want them all combined into one glass?
I hadn't intended to, but I just didn't know if that was how it was served.
She just pours them all into one goblet then.
Oh,
There you
no!
go. You've got
Okay.
a goblet full of random fish liquor.
Okay, Lick downs it.
Okay.
Actually, you know what? I take that back. Lick like holds it up and like swirls it around in the goblet and like sniffs it as though it's like a brandy or something. Like
It's called
getting the
an-
bouquet.
This fish has been aged 327 days.
This is what they call an Eisenport iced tea.
Oh.
We're not even in Eisenport though, are we?
Oh, you're in Limestock Bay.
Right, yeah.
Limestock iced.
Yeah. So he swirls it around and sniffs it. It's like a Limestock Bay iced tea. He just like sniffs it and is like,
Yes, the bouquet is quite lovely.
he like takes a sip, just a refined sip from it.
Roll to see how a sip goes down.
Oh boy. Oh, still holding out.
No, you seem fine. You just take a sip and you're like, it's strong, but it's so fishy.
Whoa, guys, this is great.
Cade just leans over to Harold and says something's fishy about this town, and I don't like it.
It's the fish. It's the fish.
And
Thank
the
you,
people.
At this point, you hear a sort of 7 or 8 women sort of rumbling in, going, You, the cat one, you buy fish, buy my fish! And like they're all trying to get you to buy their fish.
Oh no, it's okay. I'm done buying fish currently. I'm enjoying this delicious fish alcohol.
What? You want to buy my fish? It's far nicer than the one you had before. And then they all just, it's like 8 of them just like, with this vast array of fish, like offering it to you, like, come on, you want to buy more fish?
Lick immediately looks overwhelmed. Someone please save him.
I think we've all had enough fish for the night, ladies. Does this town perchance have any bread?
The barmaid looks at you quite confused and goes, Bread? What do you need bread for? We've got fish.
I'm allergic.
Healthy, it's good for you. Puts hair on your chest.
I've already got plenty of that. I happen to be allergic to fish.
You what? And what do you eat then?
Literally anything else.
She just looks like she's had this revelation of someone being allergic to fish, just like, as in she just can't picture it.
He's totally lying. He's just not fucking with this fish.
The fish always been like this.
Well, they used to be, you know. She sort of pokes one of the fish that the women are brought in. They used to be a bit livelier, but they've been a bit dead the last year. Easy to catch though, much tasty.
Have there been any, like, men in this town that we've seen?
The barmaid immediately grows kind of sour with you and goes, No men. Men all left. Some bint in the north. Offered them jobs.
Is that about a year ago as well?
Well, the last about 20, 30 years, the men have been gradually leaving us. It's a hard life when you've got to send your child to work in the mines.
Ain't nothing wrong with working mines.
Have you seen the women round here? Some of them are barely 30 and they look like they're 50. Hard life. It's not a woman's life, it's a man's life, but no, they have to go and meet their dream woman in the north.
Seems like everyone meets their dream woman in the north.
Full of whores and harlots.
I've heard they don't even talk to men unless they're wed.
Pah, they're all over 'em, like cheap rashes. You don't see them though. They're kept at home, waited on like fucking princes.
Doesn't sound too
Till
bad.
they're needed, then they just disappear.
Oh.
Briar would like to actually go outside to the lake.
Mm-hmm.
Would I be able to roll like a nature check to see what's wrong with the fish?
You can try, yes.
Suddenly they look perfectly fine.
Whatever it is you see must just be natural. You can't work out anything more than that. It must just be, changing of the season coming into the end of the year. They must just be like this.
Yeah, he'll go back into the inn and he kind of talks to the group. He's like, I don't like these fish.
What's wrong with these fish? Very tasty. You're just used to those delectable ones from the south.
Yes, what we call normal fish. I don't spell fish with elder signs.
Well, we're not all like the south. Just because we eat worms and they don't. We can't help it. They're part of the fish. They must be good for us. They wouldn't be in the fish if they weren't good for us.
Briar vomits a little bit in his
There's
mouth.
worms in them?
Yeah.
Yeah, added protein. You'll be fine. They're good for you.
Huh. Lick just sits in his basket.
Cade just doesn't know what to do. There's no alcohol he wants to drink.
This is pretty good, says Lick.
Yeah, you can keep that to yourself.
At this point, you hear the handbell outside shouting that it's time to leave to go to Eisenport.
Harold rushes out of the
Thank
door.
goodness.
Yeah.
Yes.
Cade,
I slammed the rest of my drink.
Okay, roll to see how slamming half a goblet worth of fish liquor does to you.
Oh boy, this is where it turns sour, guys. Yep.
Yep. You
Yup.
down the fish liquor. Immediately you feel yourself retching and you fall to all fours and start retching all over the floor.
Oh, I read.
Eventually this long hairball mixed with rotten fish comes out and it's holding with beetles and worms.
Oh no.
It's in the basket. It's partially on the floor, but it's also in the basket. And there's a trail of it all over the place. And just stands up and goes and then turns and walks away as if there was no problem at all.
Are you leaving the basket behind?
Yes, I leave the basket.
Okay.
This is where I draw the line. I do not take the basket full of the vomit.
This is no longer the best 4 gold Kate has ever spent.
Okay, so as you return to the cart, you notice that the cart has moved towards the north road out, and you notice that what looked like a statue before is, now you're closer, is definitely a gallows. And there seems to be someone left hanging on the gallows, and their arm seems to have been like pinned up towards the sign, towards the entrance out, the north road out, and above the corpse it seems to say, "We don't abandon our gods."
Well, that seems welcoming.
And the women are still following Lick round with these fish, trying to offer him fish.
No.
Okay, so,
Lick ignores them. It's as if they're not even there.
Glad you've learned your lesson, Lick.
Come on, you like treats. And Lick's like, nope, I don't even know what treats are. And he walks away.
so are you doing anything else, or are you just getting on the cart and heading off?
I just get in the cart and wait.
Hey, Cade,
Yeah?
think we can find another basket?
I'm sure there's one or somewhere around here.
Oh, good.
Worst comes to worst, you can just buy another one from Little Tim on the way back.
Yeah, right, of course.
So are the rest of you just getting in the cart and heading off, or are you going to look at anything else, or...?
Leaving.
Yeah, leaving.
Yeah, leaving.
And Cade will look to the cart driver and say, "Yeah, can we not stop in that town on the way back?"
He laughs and says, "Well, I need to feed Flash, and despite the smell, it's one of the easiest places to stop, rather than being on the road."
I guess that's fair. Hopefully we can just make it shorter next time.
They don't try to feed Flash fish, do they?
No, I bring Flash's food with us. We don't trust
Oh,
anything
good.
on the road anymore.
After the fish?
After
How
many
much-
things.
How much do you want for some of Flash's food?
Well, do you like grain?
Better than fish.
Better than that fish.
He just offers you a small cup of grain.
Briar will eat it.
I don't know what you're talking about. There's nothing wrong with the... And then Lick remembers the fish and just like leans over the edge of the cart and goes like... And just vomits some more.
So
What was that you were saying, Lick?
you journey away from Limestock Bay with your cat friend throwing up out of the window as you continue along the road. Eventually, as the evening begins to sort of get in, about 8 o'clock at night, you come over this hill, and below you seems to be this beautifully lit, small, like stone-built city. And as you journey into the town square, there's like quite a large, lavish-looking temple. And there's a road to the left that seems to sort of go down and spiral round the edge of the temple. And along this side road, there seems to be a school, a jailhouse, 2 different inns, one called the Stork and the other one called the Braggard's Rest. And just before the docks at the bottom, there seems to be a small stall which looks to have a dwarf standing next to it. What do you do?
Do you think that's Anders?
Could be.
Just call it out. Oi! Anders!
You notice the dwarf turn to look towards the cart, and he tilts his head, but he's not close enough that he can interact. As you do that, you notice everyone around you that you can see is female, and they immediately show a lot of interest in you as you pull on the cart and start shouting.
I'll jump out of the cart and try to get closer to Anders.
Okay.
Cade will follow.
Okay. So you jump down from the cart, you run, I imagine you're sort of moving down towards Anders' stall. You pass several pregnant women, and eventually you come to this like it looks like it should be like a merchant stall, but it looks like all the gold jewelry and stuff is kept on the inside of the stall, and it seems to be a dwarf and 2 sets of women, 2 sets of about 3 or 4 women on either side that seem to be working on the very finer parts of the jewelry, while the dwarf seems to be like limping between the 2 groups on this crutch he's got. And as you get close, you look down and realise his left leg has been completely mangled. The whole of the leg, basically. It looks like it's been savaged or like just significantly damaged in some sort of accident.
Is it like an old wound? Or is it
It's-
fresh?
You can't really see the wound itself, but you notice that when it gets down to like his leg is like down to like almost like a peg leg at the bottom. It looks like it's been like significantly damaged, and he's just sort of went, oh well, and got by. Compared to his other leg, definitely it's like a third of the thickness.
I want to speak to him in Dwarvish.
Okay, what do you want to say?
I'm like, oi, brother, what happened to your leg?
He turns, tilts his head a little and goes, "Ah, brother, how you doing? Ah, my leg." He looks at it and taps it with his crutch. He goes, "I got mauled by a sea leviathan. Leapt out the boat, axe in hand, swung it, hit the thing between the eyes, pulled me into its maw and bit me, pulled me under the waves. I don't remember what happened. I just woke up here and traded and kept here and now I make jewellery."
That's a fine trade.
It is. And you see him sort of look to you and he sort of makes a sort of glance with his eyes to the sort of left and you notice, actually do a perception check to see what you notice.
Sure.
You notice that when he's sort of signalling to the left, that the woman at the end of the party on the left seems to be having her ears pricked up and seems to be paying attention to the conversation. And he goes, "Just follow my lead." And he immediately starts talking common again. He goes, "Ah, well, that's enough for a dwarven greeting. How are the rest of you? What are you all here for?"
We're looking to see if you know a man named Dorian, or Thomas for that matter.
He strokes his beard a bit and goes, "Dwarven kin or
Elven.
elven? No, not seen any elves for a long time."
How long ago did Merchant say that Dorian had been missing?
"I don't think he told you. I don't think you asked that. I'll tell you just for the sake of it. Dorian's been up in this city for about just shy of a year, and the last letter he received was 5 months ago."
You would have probably seen him about a year ago. He said he knew you.
And there's sort of, again he strokes his beard and goes, "No, never heard of him. If I did hear of him, he made no impression on me."
Cade will kind of look to the rest of the party and just kind of nod, and yeah.
How about a man with a triangle tattoo on his arm?
"A man? Well, again, not seen many men in a long time. It's been a good couple of months since the last time I saw a man through here."
Where have they all
Where did
gone?
they all go?
"Oh, they all build ships and then they, someone offers them money and then they go away and do stuff,
So you're telling me that the men from other villages come around here and then they find a better offer?
Well, they get hired to build ships and then the proprietor, shall we say, of those ships comes down and says, 'Well, how about I offer you lots of money just to be my crew,' effectively. And a lot of the men go, 'That's a lot of gold, yeah.'"
Briar leans over to Larissa, and he's gonna whisper to her, and he says, "Oh, I think we're being spied upon." And he kind of eyes all the women that's around. "I think Anders knows more than what he's leading on to, but he's afraid here."
Well, perhaps you can see if there's a better time and place to talk.
I'll pull away from the conversation with Larissa, and I'll talk to Anders. And in common, I'll say, "Do you mind if we catch a ale later? A little bit more private."
"Oh, I couldn't do that. I couldn't leave my stall alone. Not at all. Just, there's lots of valuable gold here, and, if any went missing, it'd be in my head,
Maybe
And
after
again, he
hours.
gives a glance with his eyes towards the woman at the end, who definitely seems to have stopped working and is just listening to the conversation.
Gotcha.
Can I go distract her?
You walk round and sort of, are you going to just introduce yourself, or what are you going to do?
Yeah, I'm gonna try and haggle for some fine jewelry.
Okay. You introduce yourself and she immediately seems to that sort of stumble thing people do when you interrupt them when they're doing something they shouldn't, effectively. And she goes, what, why are you talking to me? If you want to talk about gold, speak to Anders."
Oh, but you look like you're doing such fine work over here.
"Well, yes, I'm working on them," and she turns the bit of in gold she's working on over and then turns it back again. "I'm working on Sandra's bracelet."
Well, it's beautiful. How do you do
Yes.
it?
"Well, Anders makes the gold and then we just do the fine work all the way along." She basically shows you her running it looks like some sort of very hot needle along the edge of the jewelry to create these wave-like effects.
Yeah, I'm just gonna keep trying to make pleasant talk and ask her about the jewelry to try and distract her from
She
the
seems to be
conversation.
quite flustered that she can't listen to the conversation that's going on while you're talking to her.
What's the ground look like where we are? Is it sandy, or does it have
It's very kind of stone. It's natural sort of rock, and the buildings all seem to be made out of very thick, heavy stone as well.
Gotcha.
So, as the woman is being distracted, Anders sort of looks to Briar and talks in Dwarvish and says, "They are listening. Don't tell them you're a crafter. Don't tell them you want to stay. Don't try and marry them, or you'll end up in there. And he looks towards the temple and looks back at you.
Briar will wink at him, and he'll say loudly in common, I'll write you up an order.
But I can't take an order, I'm afraid, not unless you've got gold. If you've got gold to give me that, I can craft with, then that'd be great, but without it, I'm snowed under my work. And at this point, the woman stands up and says, Anders, you can't take orders from them. And Anders turns around and goes, No, they were just trying to offer me orders. I said no. And the woman sort of looks like she's annoyed that she didn't catch most of the conversation.
Is there anyone in town who can take orders?
At this point, Anders just turns, she says, I'm the only goldsmith, you see, so all the gold goes through me. And it's all been paid for already. It's just how it is, Gold gets brought in on the ships, and then we craft it, and all the women get their jewellery. At this point, the woman is sat back down, but she's sort of narrowing her eyes at you and at the rest of the party.
So you're the only goldsmith, but we can't commission you.
Well, my first orders have to be from the matriarch. It can't be from yourselves, I'm afraid.
Huh.
Understood. I get it, working in a guild and such.
Aye, dwarven thing.
And he kind of leans up to the rest of the party and be like, yeah, dwarven thing. And he makes a very obvious wink to everyone.
Briar, I don't understand.
Lick, let's go find you a yarn ball.
Ooh!
Let's
Maybe
go
they have
find him.
actual fish here.
Oh, aye, there's plenty of fish. He
Please no.
gestures towards the docks, and there's like these enormous, very delicious looking fish that are sitting on the docks.
I take it back. Let me eat one of those.
Your cat friend seems very happy with the fish we have here. If he'd want to stay, he could have all the fish he wanted. And at this point, you see the woman sort of make a sort of like, is that a kind of like good, at least he's trying look on her face?
Well, that's a weird thing.
Maybe we should take a look around town?
I'm like, Anders, where's the closest inn where we could get
there's two inns, There's the Stork and there's the Braggard's Rest. They're both lovely inns, and they both got, wonderful staff and everything. It's fine, such is the way. Either one you want's fine, And then he sort of, he feels the woman behind him stand up, and he's like, but the Stork's lovely, but the Braggard's Rest's got, better ale. They kind of look in his face of just like, I have no idea what to say.
Oh, gotcha.
Which one's more raucous?
If you want the raucous one, you want the Braggard's Rest. It's much more, lively.
In Dwarvish, I'll ask a quick question, just super sly.
Mm-hmm.
I ask, which one?
And Anders sort of goes, that's right, brother. And in true Dwarvish, we say goodbye by saying, and he says, don't go to Braggard's Rest.
And I'll kind of bow.
The two of you sort of bow to each other, and the woman sort of goes, you've not been like that with other dwarves, Anders? And Anders goes, but, he's royalty. He's got a lot of gold behind him. And the woman immediately seems really keen on you and goes, but if he's royalty, then we should sort him out with bed straight away. And you hear this. And immediately a lot of the girls that were working on gold put their gold down and start moving around to fuss all over you.
Oh, I don't need this type of attention. It's okay. I'm humble away from my kingdom.
He's the most modest dwarf I've ever met.
Cade will just kind of pointedly make eye contact with Anders, and then kind of quickly look down at his hands and hold up a 4 for 4 hours. I don't know if he gets it, but just trying to tell him to meet us up at the Stork in 4 hours.
Roll to see if he understands. He notices your thing and he sort of shakes his head and sort of absently seems to look up while pointing directly down towards where he is now.
Cade will just kind of nod and start walking off towards the inns.
And at this point, all the women seem to be following to sort of bustle you towards the inns. And more and more of them appear when they hear the sound. They're men, they're looking for wives! For wives! And then you basically get bustled towards the two inns.
Oh, no wives.
I'm gay. Cade's not, he's just blatantly lying. He doesn't trust anyone here. These towns have been fucking weird, dude.
I'm a cat.
So you get near the two inns and they began pushing you towards the Braggard's Rest.
I definitely yell at the party and just be like, I think we need to go to the stork.
Dude, I like a quieter scene.
But the Brackett's Rest has lovely meals and all this ale you might want.
We don't like nice things.
We gotta take it easy. You should have seen the last town over. Too much fire would outdo us.
Oh god, it was awful.
Briar's left most of his wealth at home, so it appears that we have to live cheaply for the night.
For the next couple of minutes, they again keep trying to convince you to go to the Brackett's Rest.
Nope. Sorry, ladies. My royal order is we go to the stork.
As you walk into the stork, there seems to only be a couple of women there, but again, they're quite fawning over you. They fawn over everyone except for Larissa, who they seem to leave completely alone. They take you and sit you down at tables and start like massaging you and offering you food, drink, whatever you want. The drink they offer you seems to be mostly some sort of milk stout rather than ale, but they seem to be very pampering you completely and saying, "What do you want to eat? What do you want to drink?" And as soon as Lick says the word fish, he gets 3 or 4 beautifully cooked fish brought to him.
Lick's eyes turn into heart emojis, and he just begins to eat them.
Okay. At this point, Larissa is left at the other end of the table with no food and no drink at all because the women will not respond to her.
This is rude. This is terrible service.
Anything the women hand to Briar, he will pass off to Larissa.
If you pass them food, that's fine, but they just won't respond to her when she asks for things. But if you guys hand her things, it's completely fine.
Right. Lick also gestures over for Larissa to join him in the 3 or 4 fish feast that he's eating.
Larissa doesn't want any fish.
Okay, I mean that's understandable. Lick isn't using utensils.
Are these women the only people in the inn?
Yep.
I will just kind of ask how we would go about getting rooms here for the night.
Oh, rooms, yes, of course. And again, they sort of pick you all up and bustle you upstairs and offer you these really deluxe kind of rooms with very large comfortable beds, or in Lick's case, a large comfortable basket.
Oh!
And just anything you'd want is just there, apart from Larissa, who they sort of push a door at the side and say, yeah, there's a sort of moth-eaten bed in there, that's yours.
Can I get a nicer bed?
The women just sort of blink at you when you say it and you go, the men and women have to be kept separate. I mean, not unless you've got a ring on your finger.
Do these rooms have locks on them?
No.
Fuck.
Oh boy.
I don't need to share a room with them. I just want a nicer bed.
Again, they just seem to be ignoring you and just being like, well, your room's in there, and they just go back to fawning over the men.
I look at them and say, you'll provide us with anything we want, correct?
Anything you want, yes.
Leave us alone.
They all look kind of slightly saddened, but they go, oh, I guess you're tired after a long journey. We'll come back and see you in the morning. And they all sort of trape away back to downstairs in the bar. So all of you, apart from Larissa, are now standing on this sort of landing with 4 rooms coming off it, all leading to individual rooms.
Larissa, come here.
Okay. I think we should leave.
But the rooms are so nice.
Yeah, not so much mine.
Hey, Briar.
Aye.
What were you and that dwarf talking about in your common tongue?
And he kind of looks around to make sure that there's no one kind of eavesdropping.
You can go inside the rooms and shut the door, and it's relatively private.
Yeah, he'll do that.
Cade will take a quick look around for any, anything that people would use to eavesdrop within the rooms, being a thief and all.
You have a quick check of the rooms, you don't seem to find anything. You do find in every single room there is a crate, and you crack open the crate and it seems to contain really strong alcohol. It contains really strong, pine-smelling alcohol.
Ooh.
But it's very, very alcoholic, very strong pine-scented alcohol. It seems to be for both drinking and cleaning and anything else, really. It's just that strong.
Oh, it's Everclear.
So, you did notice when you were in the bar that a couple of the women at the bar did seem to be drinking it.
Cade will drink some of it, not getting too drunk, but definitely relishing in this fine alcohol.
As you drink about the first glass of it, you feel it initially tastes really cheap alcohol, but the more you drink of it, the more that sensation fades, and you just end up feeling more and more drunk.
This is some really strong shit, guys.
It does hit you relatively hard, relatively quickly.
Briar, you've got to try this.
Cade, you're on the floor.
When did I get here?
Oh,
Well, you started drinking, and then about 2 or 3 glasses later...
Thought I only had 1 glass. Wow, this is some strong shit.
So, yeah.
Briar will
And,
sniff it, and he'll take a sip.
Again, it's incredibly strong alcohol that smells like pine. There seems to be a crate of about 12 bottles in every single room.
That's
It's
a
like-
lot, man.
It's like the lambos bread, but of alcohol.
Is this heaven?
He'll put down. He's satisfied, but he's like, Cade, and he'll kind of like lift him up, and he looks at everyone else. Anders told me, don't trust any of the women here.
Why'd he say that?
I don't know, but it was enough that he told me in our language. He also told me to come here.
I tried to tell him to meet up with us, but I'm not sure he really got it.
I don't think he's going to be able to. I was going to pass him a secret note, but he wouldn't take any orders. That whole thing about guildsmiths being the only goldsmith to the matriarch, that doesn't happen. Dwarves will take anything from anyone.
This town seems more fishy than the last, and that's saying something.
Ah,
Well, we have some time to ourselves before those women come back. I mean, I guess we can just order them to leave again. They seemed pretty willing to do whatever we said.
Oh, he specifically said don't find the women here. Like, don't find a wife. Don't find anything. Don't trust him.
Oh, I was just gonna tell them to leave every time they came back. Be kind of funny.
So, how do we find Dorian?
Did he say anything else? Any places that we could look or anything? Any hints, Briar?
He said this place was safer. That was it.
Unless we can find a way to talk to Anders, perhaps they have some sort of marriage registry?
Maybe.
did we find anything out about the temple when you guys were speaking common, or was that all in Dwarvish?
Trying to remember about a temple.
Yeah, I
think-
think when he said don't marry anyone, he said or you'll end up in the temple or something like that.
Yeah, there was something about the temple.
I was in Dwarvish. I would let you guys know. I'd say, yeah, don't go to the temple.
Maybe that's someplace we need to investigate.
Yeah, I think we should break into the temple, see if we can find anyone else there that's able to talk.
Okay. So are you wanting to do that tonight, or are you wanting to wait till morning, or what do you want to do?
Cover of darkness is always the best for breaking into a place.
We should wait for me to sober up a bit first.
I slap you with a fish.
Oh, I'm ready to go, guys. Let's go.
Works every time.
The sobering of fish.
That's a magical item.
So,
The fish of sobering, you slap somebody with it, they suddenly just lose all like deleterious effects.
Constitution save.
okay. So at this point, it's about, let's say it's midnight at this point. You've got about 5 hours till dawn. What do you want to do?
I say we move out. The sooner we can get out of this town, the better.
Let's
I
do it.
agree.
Well, we still gotta find, yeah. So we should go to the temple. I can probably break in there and then make sure it's clear for you guys to come in.
Things.
So, are you going through the front door of the inn, or are you going out the back way? What are you doing?
Are there windows in our room?
There are small windows, yes.
How small?
Small enough for a
Small enough,
halfling?
small enough you could fit through.
I will open the window and kind of tie off the rope to what's sturdy in here. How sturdy are the beds in here? How
The beds
much do they
seem
feel
relatively
weighted down?
sturdy.
I will tie one end to the bed and throw the rope out the window and start kind of trying to scale down.
Okay. So you all going to follow after?
Yes.
Yep.
Well, will a dwarf fit through this window?
Yeah, you'd fit through. You'd have to go sideways,
Okay.
but you'd fit through.
Awesome.
So you're all kind of standing in the street now. You see that everything else seems to have closed for the evening. Anders' shop seems empty. The docks there seems to be a couple of people wandering around the docks, but it seems to be quite quiet. The Braggard's Rest seems to have a lot more people kind of coming in and out of it. The Stork seems very, very quiet. The jailhouse seems relatively quiet. The schoolhouse is empty. And then the temple is barred shut.
Where is the temple in relation to the docks and the Brackert's Inn?
The temple is kind of in the middle, and it dominates the town, and then there's a sort of one road that sort of goes round the side and down below, and that's where all the other buildings are along the edge of.
How tall is it?
The temple seems to be like it's on top of a certain level of rock, and it seems to be about maybe 2 floors up, so that's maybe 10 meters.
Are there obvious points of entry other than the front door, which is barred?
You haven't looked properly, but when you go around the front and have a look, it seems to be bolted shut. There are a couple of other doors, but they seem to also be only for service, and when you even have a close look at them, they seem to be very much locked shut and bolted from the inside.
Okay. Windows?
Are there locks on these doors?
The only doors you look at that have any kind of lock seem to be the main doors to the temple.
And those are barred shut.
They seem to be barred shut from the other side, yeah. There are windows, but they're kind of like stained glass windows above the main doors into the temple.
Right, so they wouldn't open, presumably.
Is there a sewer system in this town that I've noticed?
You've noticed water running from somewhere that seems to go, especially from the temple itself, that seems to go down the very, very small pipe down into sort of gutters of the streets that seems to lead all the way to the docks.
How small of a pipe?
Talking maybe you could fit your arm in, that's about as far as you'd get.
Okay. All the doors are barred from the inside, or are the service doors barred from, like, the outside?
Service doors seem to be locked with something, like, when you try and have a look at them all, the service doors seem to not even budge, and they don't seem to have anything on this side that you could use to open them. The only ones that seem to have anything that you can maybe use from this side seem to be the main doors to the temple.
Well, I guess that's point of entry then.
Could I use an Arcana check to see what this is a temple of?
Yep, roll. You look around and there's lots of wave motifs everywhere. It seems to be a god of the sea.
They worship some kind of sea god here.
Strange.
Perhaps
Kate
it's
is-
that Leviathan.
What Leviathan?
Oh, right. Anders' leg. Leviathan.
Oh.
I'm gonna go take a look through the windows up top and see if I can see anything that would help us. Perhaps there's no one in there and we can just break the windows, get in real quick and get out. I'll let you know if I find anything. And then
Okay.
Cade starts to use his climbing tools to, like, traverse the building.
Okay, so roll to try and climb the building. Yep, you climb up the side of the building.
I'll look in the windows and see if I can, like, make anyone out or anything.
You sort of move along the edge of the stained glass window and look inside. There's definitely 2 or 3 people walking around inside.
Can I tell if they're male or female?
They seem to all be female.
Is there, like, a chimney or anything on top of this building?
Nope, seems to have a very flat roof.
Cade! Do the windows open?
I'll try the windows, see if they open.
They're stained glass and you push them, they don't seem to move.
So the doors on the inside from this angle, there's definitely, like, bars from the inside.
There seems to be like some sort of deadbolt locks, or like a wooden bar put across it or something. There seems to be something more than just a lock holding them shut.
Cade will climb back down and say that there's not really an entrance to this temple unless we just brute force break the windows, but that would draw a lot of attention to us that we might not want. There seem to be 3 women inside, just kind of walking around. Couldn't really make out more than that.
Distraction?
What do you have in mind?
Well, a raucous, drunken dwarf and or human in front of their temple might draw someone out, and then some sneaky people might be able to lurk inside.
That could work. Would Briar and Harold be willing to do the part?
Sure. I'll make a ruckus if I have to.
It's what
Well,
you do best.
I could definitely cause a distraction.
Okay, so are the rest of you hiding and are going to like rush into the temple if it gets open during this ruckus?
Yeah.
That was my
Yep.
plan.
So what kind of ruckus are you going to do? What are you going to do to make the noise?
Are there like any merchant stalls in front of the temple?
Nope, it just seems to be the temple itself. There's a fountain in front of the temple.
Ooh.
Ooh, yeah. Should we like splash in the fountain and then maybe like knock on the door?
Let's do the door knocking first.
Okay, door knocking first.
Okay, you knock on the door. You hear a very timid, "Yes."
What do you keep in your fountain?
I'm sorry.
How much for the fountain?
And you hear a sort of going from behind, and then you hear that more sort of senior voice saying, "Hello."
I don't think you understand. You're making me angry. Harold, let's go to the fountain.
Ah, yes. See if it has any wishes in it.
And you sort of hear a sort of going on from behind the door again, and you start splashing in the fountain and making lots of noise.
Is there any, like, coins in the fountain at all?
1 or 2 small, like, brass coins, nothing too valuable.
I'll pick them up and, yeah, I got a copper one.
Oh, look at this one. Got one too.
I got 2 of them.
So at this point you hear the temple door being unbarred, and there's a woman and like quite a lot of finery. All the women you've seen so far have got like all this like elaborate gold jewelry, like earrings, bracelets, so what. This woman is covered in gold jewelry, like almost from head to toe. Is this like any addition she could get, she's got, including this like bracer on her left arm, which just seems to be solid gold. And she just walks up and says, "I don't know what you're doing, but if you don't stop it, we will have to arrest you."
When the doors open, Cade's gonna try and like sneak inside.
Okay, there is this woman standing, and then the sort of the two other women who were there before standing like behind her. So you can sneak in if you want.
I will roll for that.
Okay. Who else is sneaking inside?
I will attempt to.
Okay. Is Larissa going as well?
Yeah, why not? This can only end well.
Okay. Yes.
Oh, damn.
Both of you, yes. You all sneak inside rather easily as you hear a sort of, and several groups of women start appearing with like long spears and begin like motioning for Briar and Harold to move towards the jail.
Harold, run for it! And yeah, he'll jump out of the fountain and run away from the guards with his spears.
Okay, so roll to first get out of the fountain.
Oh, okay.
See if you manage to jump over the fountain dramatically or if you just crash and burn. Briar tries to jump over, trips, falls straight onto his face. Harold, however, does manage to make the jump over.
Save yourself!
So Harold starts running away. Briar is picked up by these women and is dragged towards the jail.
I think I want to fight back.
Yep, roll.
Go for the throat.
Yeah.
They sort of let you go as you sort of struggle, and you stand there with like about 20 women all pointing spears at you all around you as Harold is continuing to run away.
Oh, if it's like 20, yeah, Briar would give up as those numbers. If it was like 3 or 4, it would have been fine, but no, 20 is a bit much.
Okay. So 20 women all appear around you and they slowly like escort you to the jailhouse. As they escort you away, the woman with the bracelet on her arm seems to be like, "Find the other one. I don't know what he was trying to do, but they were doing something in our waterfall." And as you're sort of led into this jailhouse and the door is locked behind you, you see a lot of them like wander off with spears armed to try and find Harold. But we'll cut back to that, because we're currently with Cade, Larissa and Lick as they're inside this temple. What do you want to do?
There's no people in here currently, right?
At the moment, the door is still open. There are a couple of pews to the left, to the right, and a couple in the middle. The main part of the temple is an altar covered in hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of candles. And behind that altar seems to be this very large, it's like a very elaborately carved stone mural, which has got this like a woman standing on the water.
I close the door and bar it behind us.
Okay.
That should buy us some time.
Okay. There doesn't seem to be any other way out of the room that you can immediately see.
Cade's gonna go up to the statue and start to kind of just take a good look at it, kind of get a lay of the land, see if there's any like secret, openings, anything like that.
Okay, roll.
Nope.
Nope, there's nothing there that you can see. There doesn't seem to be anything around the statue, it seems just to be a carving in the wall.
There's no other rooms that we can see.
There's nothing else you can see immediately, but if everyone gives me a perception check, I can let you know if I see anything more. So that's Larissa, Cade, and Lick. So two of you seem to spot it, that to the left of the main altar there seems to be this very well concealed curtain, and behind the curtain seems to be a door.
I approach it.
Okay.
Can I check the door for traps, and then if it seems to be free of them, try the handle?
It seems to be so well concealed that there would not very likely be many traps on it, but you can try if you want.
Okay.
There are no traps. As I said, it was quite a concealed door, so it's not going to have that many traps on it.
Awesome. I try the handle, see if it's unlocked.
Okay. The door seems to be unlocked. You swing it open, and it just leads to a set of stairs going down.
Hey guys, I found a door.
Ooh.
Cade will come up behind Lick and kind of enter the hallway with him.
At this point, you hear banging on the main temple door saying, "Who locked this? Why is it shut?"
Ooh, let's make haste.
We should close the door behind us, not give them any reason to think that, we're in here.
Okay. So you begin to descend down the stairs after closing the door. Eventually you come to a small room with a large stone, like a large stone altar again, but it's kind of like a large stone table in the middle of the room. To the side of there seems to be lots of boxes of what looks like some kind of random gear, like armors and weapons and shields and stuff like that. They seem to be very neatly folded.
Uh-huh. Does it appear to be mismatched as though it was from a bunch of different types of people?
Yep.
Uh-huh.
That's where all the men have gone.
What does the table look like?
The table just looks like a generic stone table. As you look around the room, there seems to be a door to the back right, and there seems to also be another sort of set of stairs up directly in front of you.
Let's check the door first, and then make our way up the stairs.
Okay. You open the door, immediately the smell of the sea sort of returns, and there doesn't seem to be anything. As you open that door, you hear the sound of something being dragged down the stairs opposite you.
Hide.
Yeah, I will enter the room and shut it once everyone else is in here.
Yeah, I will dive into the room and attempt to hide as well.
Okay. At this point, you notice 2 or 3 women that look like kind of older fisherwomen dragging an unconscious Briar down the stairs. He seems to stink of this like very strong pine alcohol. They seem to drag him and pull him onto the table and begin like removing his gear.
Oh no!
Oh boy. Okay. I look up at Cade and Larissa because for some reason I'm imagining Lick is low to the ground. He just sort of like shrugs, like, what do we do?
I think for right now, our main objective is to figure out where all the other men are, and first we should probably see what happens to this guy. If it goes too far, we can try and save him.
It's Briar!
Oh, that's right, it is. I heard it. I heard something wrong. Yeah, no, Cade will just kind of look and pull out his axe.
So you notice them begin to start at like the boots and take his boots off and put them in like, they find another box, they seem to start putting them into a new box. So at this point they're taking away like a lot of the like jewelry and stuff like that he had. He is completely unconscious and just snoring loudly. What do you do?
I take out one of my caltrops and I just like flick it across the room in an attempt to like distract them just long enough to like make them turn their heads so that we can surprise them.
One of the women goes, huh? And goes over, picks it up off the ground and sort of looks around as she's not sure where it came from. The other one is sort of trying to pull what sort of lower garments Briar has, like some sort of trousers off him.
You want to go first?
Cade will actually take his dagger out and throw it at one of the ones that is on Briar right now.
Okay. So there's one on Briar, there's one in the middle of the room. Which one do you want to throw at?
The one on Briar right now.
Okay, roll.
Ooh, no.
You natural 1. You
Ouch.
You stand to try and throw it, you end up overbalancing and you fall, sort of tumble forward and revealing yourself lying prone in the middle of the room. The
Larissa?
woman that was standing in the middle of the room turns and points a very large machete-like knife in your face.
Some help here, guys?
Larissa?
I burst out of the door with a sword.
Okay, roll to see how you get on.
Also a natural 1.
Why would you say that?
You burst in, you trip over Cade's body, which you didn't expect to be as close to the door as it was, and you tumble, dropping your sword.
We're
I
doing so well.
This is it.
Over the pile of my friends and attempt to, with my daggers drawn, and I attempt to, like, accost this person and, like, drive them to the ground, basically.
Okay.
I don't actually want to, like, start cutting them yet, but I do want them to, like, stand down and to
Okay.
not use their machete dagger to kill us.
Roll. Natural 20. You kind
That's
of
a dirty 20. It's a 14 plus 6.
You kind of appear from nowhere and you just sort of like hold your daggers up. The women that seem to be threatening Cade and that were removing the gear from Briar seem to sort of not back off, but they seem to be very aware of you, but seem to think they have the upper hand at the moment.
I bet they do think that.
They currently have knives pointed at Larissa, Cade, and, well, Briar's unconscious, so just Larissa and Cade.
Okay, Lick's just like,
Okay, back up, and nothing bad happens. Put the knives down.
One of them draws a second dagger, well, second sort of machete-like knife from her belt,
That is the opposite of what I said.
and let's see what she does with it. She just sort of, like, points it towards you, like, with a very kind of, like, meh way about it, not even trying to be threatening.
okay, then I do this thing where I, like, take one of the daggers and I, like, slide it down to the hilt, like the crossguard, and like slide it all the way to the base of hers and then twist, and I want to disarm her of her long knife.
Okay, roll. The one pointed at you, assume. Yep, make her drop the knife that she was holding pointed at you, but she sort of spins back and like continues the one pointed at Cade, but seems to be very much focused on you.
At this point, could Cade try to like take his other dagger that he took from Daniel and like try to disarm her, like reaching up with his dagger?
I thought you left both of them on the bank, but okay, sure.
Oh no, I said that I had grabbed both of them and walked off.
Alright, okay. I thought you said you left both in the bank. It doesn't matter. Just, yeah, sure. So, yeah, you kind of, like, thrust forward. He sort of drops the machete sword she had and sort of, like, staggers backwards, and she begins to sort of backing away towards the set of stairs. The other one seems to be backing towards the stairs you came down at the start.
No moving.
Can I cast Heal on Briar?
You can, yes. Natural 20.
Yes!
You cast Heal on Briar, and immediately he just sits up and goes, what the... Why am I naked from the waist down?
Why am I naked from the waist down? And he looks over at Cade. Is Cade still in the room?
Yep, Cade's
Yes.
in the room,
And he looks at Cade like, you did this.
Cade just like looks at pointedly at the other two people in the room, the women.
yeah. At this point, you hear the sound of something else being dragged down the stairs, and the woman who was standing at the bottom of the stairs turns around and starts running up. And at this point, you hear several more of them just like dropping whatever they were carrying and running up. About 20 seconds later, you hear a sort of like pim, 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 as Harold's body like rolls to the bottom of the stairs, again stinking of pine.
We'll cast heal on Harold.
Okay. You'll have slightly more bruises from being rolled down a set of stairs, but yeah. Yeah, you wake him up and he's just like, ow!
Oh, gosh. This is worse than that bar fight.
Yeah, it seems that they found you and drugged you, and then we're going to take you down here and strip you of all your things.
Oh, gosh.
I thought I told you to run.
I did. I tried to tell them something about some small town custom of running away from women and the fastest one trying to marry, and it didn't go so well.
Didn't we tell you not to offer to marry any of them?
I thought maybe it would placate them.
Cade starts kind of collecting the things that were stripped off of Briar and kind of like tosses it at him and say, we need to go.
He puts his pants on first.
At this point, you notice the woman who was standing in the way you came has also ran off, and you hear that there's something seems to be coming down both sets of stairs towards you.
Cade's
we are
gonna
be in trouble.
throw his ball bearings like at the bottom of the stairs and also like on top of some of them as kind of like a trap, and then start like pulling people out the door that we came through.
Okay. So, you put your ball bearings down, you go through the only other door in the room. It leads to a long corridor. At the end of the corridor, it seems to lead into this like set of stairs going down, where there's this like aqueduct in front of you, and behind the aqueduct seems to be a gong, and to the left and to the right seems to be this quite large like empty room, and at the edges of the empty room, how best describe this, it's like there are about 4 of these on each side. First of all, it's like a pirate wheel on its side, and between the spokes have got maybe there's like 12 spokes around it, and between the 2 spokes there seems to be a naked man tied to each sort of section. He seems to be tied by his like wrists and ankles. Some of these men look like they've grown like long beards from being trapped a long time, others look like they've been there a couple of weeks if that. The stench of basically shit, sea and retsina, which is the pine stuff, is incredibly strong here. What do you do?
Can I see if I see anyone with a triangle tattoo on their arm, their left arm?
You're currently standing in the middle of a room. There's about maybe 20 meters between the end of the aqueduct and where the men are. So you're currently too far away to examine them, and they are like all tied around this wheel. Well, around several wheels.
Now, these wheels, just so I have it straight in my head, they're like attached to them, sort of like so that they're hanging from them?
If you imagine a pirate wheel, you know, the one with the sort of spokes about it, on its side, and between each spoke there seems to be like a bar above and a bar below, and they seem to have their wrists tied to one, their ankles tied to another.
Okay. Gotcha. Are they pulled tight, or are they sort
They
of
seem
like...
to be pulled in a way that they can't move.
Okay, gotcha.
And there seems to be like a hole underneath that seem to be like... There's a couple of brooms lying around. They seem to just sweep anything that comes out from, like, that's like vomit or shit or anything like that into this hole.
Okay.
So it seems basically a restraining pen.
Well, that's unsettling.
I think I know where Dorian went. And Thomas.
We should probably cut them down, right?
Yeah, that's probably a good choice. But a real quick question: how lucid do you think they're gonna be?
Probably not very.
It's a bad choice.
We were sent to get Dorian and Thomas we've been made aware of. I think we should focus on those two, and if we find a way to get the rest, then that comes second.
From what you can see, it looks like there must be around 60, maybe 70 men that have been captured at the moment.
60 or 70? Jesus.
I just start yelling out, Dorian!
Thomas!
You just sort of hear like from like some of the men on either side.
Well, that's not gonna work.
I'll head over to him.
Okay, so there's men trapped to the left and to the right. Again, they're about 20 meters away from this aqueduct in the middle, so if you want to run to one wheel, you'd have to choose which side you wanted to go to.
To the left.
Okay.
Cade will start going to the right and checking them.
Okay.
Briar's gonna go to the left with Larissa to help her.
Okay.
Lick of Flame will keep an eye out.
Okay.
Yeah, Harold will also keep an eye on the entrance.
So you start looking over the men. The men all seem to be of various ages, various races, where it's dwarven, elven, human. There's even one or two that look like they could have been half orc, properly like big, very like British strength like men, but they look like they've been here for a long time, and the stench of Retsina is so strong. You see a couple of bottles just lying around the side. It looks like they're basically using it to keep them docile.
Cade starts looking for either an elven man that fits the description of Dorian or Thomas with the triangle tattoo.
Okay.
Same.
Roll to see what you find. Cade finds someone who could be Thomas. He does have a sort of green triangle tattoo on his arm.
Cade will cut him down and just start trying to like pull him away. I will try and cast heal on Thomas then.
Okay. You cast it on him. He seems to sober up, but he can't stand. He seems like he's been restrained for so long that his muscles look quite withered compared to what they were.
Is your name Thomas by chance?
He sort of groans and nods,
I'm getting you out of here.
and at this point you hear from a lot of the men on the wheel who are desperately trying to get your attention, despite the fact they can't wave.
Cade just kind of coldly ignores him, knowing that he can't save all of them.
So,
Dorian's not here.
Dorian is not here, no.
Can Briar make that check as well to see if he looks for Dorian?
What side are you going to look at, the left or the right?
On the... He went through Larissa, so he's on the left right now.
Okay, roll. Ooh. It's high, but you look through, there's a couple of elves, but there's definitely not one called Dorian. The one you do find that seems closest, seems about the right age, seems about the right look, but is not Dorian. When you sort of sober him up and ask him his name, he says his name is Elwood.
Would Cade be able to look for Dorian on his side?
You can continue looking if you want. At this point, you hear the sound of something banging on the door where you came from. There is no sign of him on your side either.
Alright guys, I don't think he's here. We have to leave now. We can find out what happened later.
Is there an exit that's not the way we came in?
Those on the left side notice a door to the back that seems to be leads to the outside. It seems to have been bolted from the inside.
There's a door over here.
Excellent. And Lick of Flame grabs his bag of caltrops and scatters them on the ground in front of where they people who are following them are probably going to be coming from,
Okay.
and then puts the empty bag back in his pouch and then makes for the exit.
Okay.
Briar, help me carry Thomas.
Yeah, he'll go over to Cade. Does Briar notice if there's any of the Retsina in this room?
Oh, there's loads of it. There's bottles and crates of it lying around everywhere.
Yeah, there's a bad thought going through my mind.
Where is all this stuff coming from?
Same thought.
Which is, if these are all sacrifices to the water god, what would happen if we just killed everyone?
Oh, I was thinking of making Molotovs, but okay.
Well, in that regard, I took it a step further. If we can't save them, we can at least save humanity from this water god.
What water god?
It's a temple to a water god. I told you that.
Yes, And we're kind of like assuming that it's like this Leviathan that we've heard a rumor about, but that's a big jump to like immediately just go to, well, we should just kill all these folks for it. Lick of Flame is not in favor of this.
Yeah, knowing Briar's past, no, he wouldn't kill everybody. That's not his. He's gonna help Cade. He's gonna help Cade carry.
So between the two of you, you like grab Thomas and run towards this exit. You barrel through this exit, and as you kind of get outside, you're standing in front of what looks like a small stable pen, which seems to have a man sleeping next to a horse, and the cart you got down in. What do you do?
I'll pay you 5 gold to get us out of here right now.
You sort of shake him awake. He goes, what's going on?
You need to get us out of here right now.
Okay. And he like hurriedly like wakes the horse up and starts trying to attach the horse to the cart.
We still have to find Dorian, though.
No, he's dead.
The quest was to get news, and we've got bad news.
That's true.
We sure do. Horrible water god cult.
Perhaps you'll find a larger party that he can send here to actually do something about this. I don't think we're capable of taking on all those women.
Yes, like the Crown's Guard. Let's leave.
Not the guard. Anything but the guard.
Okay. So you attach the horse to the cart. Are you just gonna like hightail it straight out of there?
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah.
Preferably?
Okay.
I will
so-
pay the driver extra to take us past that fish town.
Oh, damn it. Fuck. We screwed up, guys. We could have tried to find evidence of Dorian in the crates of shit. Damn it. Oh,
So
damn it.
you journey your way back, including stopping at the fish town where Lick gets all the fish he ever wanted.
Yeah, it was one.
And you also stop in Missenden to reunite Thomas with Tabitha. Who
Yeah.
Oh, on the way back, I hand Thomas the key that Tim gave me and say, your son sent me to find you. And he told me that he wanted you to come back so you guys can keep making these.
Okay. So as you go past, and I imagine one of you have lent him a cloak or something because he was naked.
Yeah, I'll lend him my cloak.
Okay. So he turns back up, and there is the happy reunion of him and Tabitha, and Tim looks surprisingly happy despite the fact he's been selling baskets for the past few months. And he keeps yelling, I told you so, I told you so. He did come back. And then you return to the merchant, who, as you draw up, goes, my friends, you're back. Did you find my son?
We've been able to find what happened to him, but it's not likely that he's still alive. The women of Eisenport seem to be part of a sea god cult and are abducting the men for some strange reason. And though we looked through all the men that had been abducted, and some had been there for a long time, Dorian was not one of them.
A sea god cult? That seems very strange. Well, I suppose you've came back, and should I send a larger party to go and investigate this sea cult?
It seems to be the entire town. I'd be wary about sending just a party. I would consider hiring a mercenary group, or the King's Guard, or somebody.
Oh, I
You
see.
need an army.
I see.
They're well armed. They've taken everything from all the men that have come through that town. They almost got 2 of our own.
Oh, I see. Well, thank you. I appreciate that, and I will endeavour to attempt to send some sort of army to the north then. And he gives you your pay and then wanders off. And that is the end of the one-shot.
Yay!
So you already get the accolade. You were the first party to rescue Thomas.
Oh, huzzah!
Hey,
We did a thing.
Everyone else waited till the second day to go investigate, and during the second day the men were being sacrificed, and Thomas was one of the ones being sacrificed.
Oh no.
Oh no.
You also got saved what is actually going on, because you again did it on the first night, so you didn't get to see what's actually going on in the town. And you didn't speak to the matriarch at all, which is another thing that I don't think anyone was expected to do. So yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
But before I tell you what happened out of context, so it's not going to be recorded in this podcast, please do your plugging. So as we got to the end, it's time for you just to tell us who you are, where you can find you, and what you're doing. So take it away. Floor is yours.
So yeah, we're Wednesday Night Game, and you can find us at wednesdaynightgame.wordpress.com. Our entire archive is there. It's 2 years worth of podcasting. It's a shitload of games, and there's a whole bunch of stuff there. If you want to find us on Twitter, it's at WedNightGame, and you can talk with Caitlin there. She's very happy to participate in any conversation you want to have.
I like making friends.
Do you guys have anything else you want to hype? Do you want to hype your new project? Is it just, you said a magical girl thing on the...
What's in our backlog right now, Colin? We've got Magical Fury. We've got the L5R playtest.
Right.
And then
Magical Fury is coming up. That's publishing in October and probably through November. Then Legends of the Five Rings, the playtest that we did, is going to be going through December and then on into next year for who knows how long. And then after that it's in question. So I'll leave that as a little secret for people who want to listen.
Cool. And do you guys have... So you're on Twitter, Instagram is...
The Instagram is WedNightGame, just like our Twitter handle, because we wanted to keep that simple.
Cool. And are you guys on SoundCloud, Podbean, anything like that as well?
Yep, any podcatcher. I don't think we're actually on Podbean, though. I think Colton looked into that, and we were not able to find ourselves on there. I'm not sure how to register.
Podbean's a strange one.
Yep.
Okay. Anything else you guys want to hype before you go?
That's it for me.
Cool.
Yeah, I think that's all good.
I think that's all of it.
I think that's it.
Cool.
And with that, dearest friends, time has run out for our tale with our group of adventurers. We hope you'll join us in taking the time to support those that dare to traverse our dungeons, and maybe even listen to their own bard's tales, for what is a good story if not shared with as many folk as can be sang to? As for ourselves, you can follow the many tales of Penance RPG through both our Twitter or Facebook at Penance RPG. If you would like to support us in our endeavours, we have both a Patreon at patreon.com/PenanceRPG and Ko-Fi at ko-fi.com/PenanceRPG. All support, however small it may seem, is gratefully received and will assist us in bringing future projects to your ears.
And as the evil that was in the north returns to legend, and as another group are left changed forever, we only have this to say. Good night out there, whatever you are.
Father, oh gosh, give me a second. Freaking, yeah.
No.
My hometown has a fire alarm, so you might hear it. You hear it?
Sure. Where are you guys from, by the way, and ask?
Well, most of us are based out here in St. Louis, but Alex, playing Harold, is off in Pennsylvania.
Alright, okay.
Yeah. And they have a fire alarm from like the 1900s that they just haven't taken down.
Air raid siren.
You know, it was useful back in the day when people, you know, had like buckets of water to like pour on fires. But you'd think in this day of cell phones or heck even beepers in the 80s, you would have gotten rid of it.
See, it's perfect for our 1950s pulp games where like the robots are rising. We should do that.
Right, I was about to say, we play so many of those.
That whenever Alex's random fire alarm goes off, it just completely changes the story.
Alright, it's fading. Holy crap.
Cool.
That freaking alarm.